you doing up so late? Go to bed, Aaron. You're a growing boy and you need to sleep.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
what up,
Vegan
Marco?
Gang. I appreciate you.
Right now.
Congratulations, you are first.
I'm gonna end it in like 2 minutes. This is Jasmine Richard. Boom, 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 boom. I'm sorry, that's a bad joke. We all love Jasmine.
Me too.
What up,
This
everybody?
is creepy.
The 6 Mr. Olympia title. It's all staged.
He's creating all these stories,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
nobody can say
But if
anything.
you run the
because
organization, you're
Yeah.
able to do that.
Joe Weider writes an article about Sergio, that Sergio is a chicken without a head.
A chicken, y'all remember that.
And here's the article with
Yeah.
Frank Zane on the cover. It says, Sergio Oliva, a chicken without a head. By
Why am I streaming so late? I've been having trouble sleeping the last couple days, and there's no way I'm going to be able to sleep right now, so I figured I'd just stream.
Joe Weider.
Yeah.
But that's page 1. On page 2, he goes full-blown commando. He's using the words whore and hooker. There's the first one that got canceled. It was Sergio.
Don't you think that anybody else has a chance to beat you like Robbie Robbins?
No, come on, Joe.
Have you seen the trailer for Trap? Gonna see it. What is Trap? Oh, that. Definitely not gonna see it in theaters. Kind of funny how, yeah, M. Night Shyamalan, got Josh Hartnett to do this. This is also clearly filmed in Toronto. This is, the Gardner Expressway. Yeah, that's... This looks like a really bad low-budget movie. I'll see it when it's out on streaming, but I'm not, I'm not gonna go to the theaters to see that. No way.
Она тут! Третий этаж! Давай, давай!
This is Volume 2 in Bad Movie Fights vs.
Atomic Blonde had such good fucking fight scenes. So badass.
Good Movie Fights. In Volume 1, you learned that a good fight should have stakes, clarity, and editing that best serves the action. Anything with shaky cam is a major no-no. Anything with choppy...
Yeah, that's American movies for you. All shaky cam because the actors can't fight, they receive no training. Terrible choreography and just shaking the camera like crazy hides all that.
Editing to cover up actors who can't fight is a major no-no. And remember, no guns allowed. So, let's do this. Let's start off with a good fight. This scene is from the film Mission Impossible Fallout. Much like the Bourne films, which had to find their rhythm to really figure out what they were doing,
This is Jason Bourne.
the Mission Impossible series have gone through the same journey, starting off as a very Hitchcockian spy thriller, to an action-packed Hong Kong-esque movie, to something more drama-based.
It's up to you how this goes.
Because you know what I'm going to do next? I'm gonna find her. Whoever she is, I'm gonna find her and I'm gonna hurt her.
To finally settle in on being a series that is constructed around elaborate set pieces. And this fight sequence is Henry Cavill's finest moment as an action star so far. The hand-to-hand combat in this scene is excellent. Now don't get it wrong, there are maybe
I don't think Henry Cavill can box. Let me see. Henry Cavill. Let me see if he does any boxing.
So we had to fit their storyline. Henry, his character Superman, he doesn't know this Kryptonian martial arts forms. So he almost had to take Henry's crispness and clean lines and training out of it to give him the frat boy.
Yeah, he's kind of uncoordinated. Did you like Philip Seymour Hoffman? Can't say I was a particular fan of his, and a lot of his movies were also incredibly pretentious, hoity-toity melodramas that I just can't fucking stand. So I haven't liked most of his movies.
They also have shitty expulsions, like the Marvel movies. Good God, the new Planet of the Apes series had better expulsions than the McHugh.
That is true. I still have to watch that Planet of the Apes movie. Haven't seen it yet. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo. There we go.
Boy, haymaker, if you will. So that was kind of fun, just telling him to open his moves.
too many cuts in the scene. The real genius of shooting an action scene is to keep the cuts minimal. But the cuts used here are always intentional, and are used to progress the action rather than be part of his career. When he wrote,
Give me the fucking keys, you fucking cocksucker motherfucker!
This guy is, I think, Alec Baldwin's son, and he's a crazy creationist.
Hi VG. I hope that you are doing great tonight. So, my brother and I paid our second month's rent, and after this $3 donation, I'll be left with $2 in my bank account lol in the next few hours, though I'll be receiving my paycheck, so I won't be bone dry for this month lol.
Alright, well, maybe just to be safe, don't donate until you get your paycheck, because you never know if you're gonna need that $3 for, you know, something. Thanks for the donation, though, Ben.
Cocksucker motherfucker!
the usual suspects.
How many keys? How many fucking keys? You got? I need a face to make a mask.
So, we're back to shaky cam and quick editing to cover up actors' lack of fighting abilities. Now,
I gotta say, it's very sad when a movie about apes has better explosions than a superhero movie.
That is true. Yes. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
there's no doubting that the original Taken film was a guilty pleasure classic.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Very basic storyline, very good acting from Neeson, and ultimately some nice set pieces. Taken 2, however, is simply overbearing. Same storyline as 1, with a bigger budget. And this scene is how you should not shoot an action sequence. Now firstly, the problem comes from the casting itself. At this stage, Liam Neeson was 60 years old. In great shape, but still 60 years old. So this scene is already highly unbelievable.
Yeah, I love that scene from one of the Taken movies where he jumps a fence. Yeah, that Taken 3. Yeah, there's like 12 cuts for him jumping a fence.
In my bad movie car chases versus good.
Dodo donated $2. Let me see.
We're living in troubled times, especially here in the UK, man. It feels like it's about to kick off everywhere, and it's weird. I mean, we have this devastating attack on these poor kiddies at this dance flex in Southport, which was perpetrated by some crazed, deranged individual, which was.
I haven't really looked into this. Teen 17 accused of Southport murders named. 17-year-old charged with murdering 3 girls who were stabbed at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class. Southport. Alex Maganwa Rudakanabana. Okay, I know exactly why people were kind of outraged about this. Is that the guy? That can't be the guy. Really? He looks like that has to be, that can't be a... Is that his photo? Or is that one of the kids that was killed? Rwandan heritage. Rwanda. Are they mostly Christian, usually? The religion of the potential South Park stabbing suspect was a big deal as right-wingers on social media alleged the attacker was a Muslim. Well, I mean, it's not unreasonable to make that assumption.
And Spesh King of Apes this exits.
Let me see. Furious George tears off your mother's face, rejected children's book. Yeah, you gotta be careful around apes. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. False reports claimed a Muslim had been arrested for the murders, and riots even broke out in parts of the UK, with mosques being attacked and clashes flaring up between rioters and law enforcement. Like, by the way, the amount of Muslim terror attacks that have happened in the UK are kind of insane. Like, too many. So, let's be a little fair here. His family is Christian. Judge Menery mentioned all these issues in his order, lifting restrictions of the attacker. Yeah.
Disgusting, and 3 little girls lost their life, which is tragedy, and we send love to their families, subhanallah. No one should feel this way, but
yeah, wasn't there that bombing at an Ariana Grande concert where like a dozen people fucking died and they're all kids?
The problem is we have been, as a community, desensitized to children being killed. We've been desensitized. We're watching children die every day in Palestine. We're seeing dead bodies being...
Yeah, gee, I wonder. Like, it's funny how he mentions this when both the Palestinian Authority and Hamas have used child soldiers and have even gotten children to wear suicide vests. So if we're talking about one particular community that's okay with children being killed, it's probably like the radical Muslim community.
Fathers holding their dead babies with no heads and this, that, the other. And what I'm trying to understand is apparently now there's this big outpouring. These kids, no parent, that Danny Tomo was going, oh, I'm scarred for life after what? I'm like, bro, you don't care when it's little brown babies dying, mate. You really don't. And the worst thing is, imagine the scenario. Somebody's killing these little girls in Southport, and you're applauding them, and you're waving flags supporting them. Imagine how you would feel. That you're seeing people applauding the people who are killing children, and then look in the mirror, because this is what you do when you support.
So he's turning this whole thing into let's kill all the Jews and let Muslim radicals reign in Palestine. This is what he's turning it into. He took the opportunity to exploit a bunch of kids getting killed by some maniac fucking teenager with a knife to talk about how he hates Jews, he wants them all dead, and he wants Hamas to kill everyone.
Israel. Well, I keep hearing this, no family should have to experience losing a child. I agree. But why are you choosing which children's lives worth something, which are not? These were victims of a despicable crime. And
yeah, but let's just ignore all the Jewish children that were killed by Hamas. Let's ignore all the children that are indoctrinated into your fucking pedophile, rape, murder cult that are forced to fight as child soldiers. Yeah, let's ignore all that.
The other thing is the idea that no crime can ever be terror related unless it's a Muslim. If it's not a Muslim, it's not terror related. Innocent kids should be a red line. I agree. But aren't the children in Palestine innocent kids? I'm just trying.
I'm pretty sure almost every terror attack over the last 20 years in the UK has been Muslim related, aside from just one where the guy was a neo-Nazi and he was bombing minority neighborhoods. So he was trying to attack black people, Asians, shit like that. That's only one I can think of, but every other fucking terror attack, they're all Muslim. So it's just let's get real. There is an issue with the Muslim community in the fucking UK. You all want to invite in fucking terrorists from Syria. That fucking guy, what's his name in the UK, just got arrested. He was arrested previously for giving money to ISIS, and he was just arrested again, and he's getting a life sentence because he was supporting a Muslim terrorist organization that was domestic to the UK. If we're gonna complain about fucking violence coming from any particular culture within the UK, buddy. Hey Chris, what's up?
Trying to understand. If you care about innocent kids being killed, why would the same people be supporting Israel killing innocent kids? Because what?
Well, they're not exactly innocent kids when they're taught to hate Jews, worship Hitler, and they're fighting in Qassam brigades.
The next question I should ask, these little girls' parents, did they commit any crimes? Who were they? What did they do? Because apparently you can justify killing little kids if you could blame the parents for something. And this is despicable. It's absolutely despicable. You know what I mean? I don't get how you can choose which little girls or which little kids you choose to get angry about being killed.
This is just simple math. If you have a terrorist that is guilty of murdering several people and will likely murder again, will likely indoctrinate their children to also hate Jews and commit murder, and the only realistic opportunity that you're going to have to take them out is when they're with their family members, why the fuck wouldn't you? Yeah, fuck them. Guess what? If somebody has a young son or daughter and their parents are a fucking crazy whack job, Jew-hating Muslim fucking terrorist that is responsible for the October 7th attack, what do you think their family is going to believe? Their family is a fucking security risk. they're just going to grow up to fucking fight Jews all the same. They're going to join Hamas or help in some way. I don't know why you'd be particularly concerned about these people's families when we know what's going to happen. We know these people are extremely dangerous. Like, yeah, that's the only realistic opportunity you have to kill them while also trying to minimize civilian casualties. Yeah, kill them, like bomb their houses. I guess the IDF should just wait until they're in a public area surrounded by many innocent civilians, and then he'll have the opportunity to say, the IDF is indiscriminately bombing. They just bombed a civilian area to get to one terrorist. Like, you can't win either way. Oh, they're killing people's families. And then when they actually do, like, these, you know, when they track these terrorists and kill them when they're just doing their daily routine, the IDF killed them in a public area. Like, you just can't win.
I get it. This is England. This is close to home. It could be my daughter. She could have been. I get it. I completely get it. But the idea to say no parent should ever experience this. Parents are experiencing it every single day in Palestine, and you don't really care about them. You really don't care about them. They're dying on a daily basis, and you think it's justified. You actually say it's justified. It's justified to kill.
By the way, this is the same guy who supported the October 7th attack where children were fucking murdered. So, yeah, go fuck yourself.
The kids in Palestine, we don't worry about that. How would you feel if someone said, oh, well, I think it's justified to kill the kids in Southport? You think they're insane.
Like, notice how when kids are dying in the Gaza Strip, it's to fulfill a legitimate military objective, and when these kids died in Southport, it was just a senseless, killing. Do you think one might be more justifiable than the other?
How are you justifying killing children? You can't justify killing children. You just can't do it.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Every single fucking country on the planet does this. You are always going to have collateral damage in a war. You're always going to put civilian lives at risk. I don't think there has been any war ever in the history of humanity where no innocent people died over the course of the war, especially when you're talking about urban areas. Any urban conflict, you're going to get civilian casualties, and that's going to include children. Like, is this guy also going to say the Allied forces, attacking Nazi Germany weren't justified because they ended up killing kids? Like is that it? Well, considering the link between fucking Islam and Nazism, he might actually believe that. Yeah, well, Hitler loved Islam. He was really, close with the Mufti in Palestine. He was actually talking about how he wishes Germans were, Muslim, because it's a much better religion, especially when it comes to hating Jews. So, the Allies weren't really justified in killing Hitler because look at all the civilian casualties. I bet he would actually have a position like that.
But when the same people who were celebrating the killing of children in
What up, Aaron?
Palestine and attacking the people who were calling for the ending of killing in children. Look at the irony. Those people who are complaining and crying about children being killed are attacking the people who support Palestine, who are supporting Palestine and Gaza to stop children being killed. We should be together on this. We should be together.
No, we shouldn't, because you're a Jew-hating anti-Semite.
SubhanAllah, the people who are protesting about Gaza are trying to stop children being killed. And you attack them. Hypocrisy after double standards. And I'm watching on TikTok. Oh, the police. Look at disrespect for the police. The police in Manchester Airport. Oh, this, oh, that. They should have the powers. They should be shot. And next thing you know, you go into a town where there's a vigil for the remembrance of 3 little girls who were murdered. Yeah, 3 little girls are murdered. Another 6 still in hospital. And as if the parents haven't suffered enough, you think it's a great idea to go to their town and smash it up. I mean, come on. Where is the law?
Okay, this guy's a literal fucking retard.
Mr. Beast videos are real, and he's a great guy that gives away.
We've already reacted to this video, Dodo, but I think he did an interview on someone else's channel.
Guess what, guys? Taking an L? 2 L's? W. All right. Broken do. Here is the interview with Mr. Dawson. I have a bunch of questions. Firstly, I apologize if in my video, I'm not sure how much of it you saw, if you saw all of it, if I unreasonably dismissed certain points, which I definitely absolutely did, but I would like to apologize, and I have no excuse.
Octali VG, the young turds would be live him.
Israel has killed 2 more journalists who were doing their jobs in Gaza, trying to report on the ongoing genocide there. These 2 were they were 27-year-olds and worked for Al Jazeera. Ismail Al-Ghul and his cameraman Rami Al-Rifi.
As if it fucking matters that they're journalists. We already know that Al Jazeera employs terrorists in their network. The fucking guy, the journalist who worked for Al Jazeera, was keeping fucking Israeli hostages in his home. So, like, why would I be particularly concerned about this when, yeah, it seems that Al Jazeera has a bit of a fucking terrorist employment problem?
They had been reporting for the last 10 months from Gaza, and they were explicitly covering the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, the leader of Hamas, by visiting where Haniyeh was from, which was a refugee camp in the north of Gaza. Here,
it's not a refugee camp. Go fuck yourself. I hate it when people fucking say this stupid shit.
Is one of their colleagues, also of Al Jazeera, reporting on what happened to them.
They were directly targeted in a white car where they were killed.
Gee, I wonder if it might have had anything to do with them possibly being terrorists. Like, I love how they report on this without knowing why the IDF, you know, did the strike, what intelligence they had on these people. Like, oh, they were journalists. Well, yeah, there was also a journalist keeping Israeli hostages, so yeah, fuck you.
They were wearing their press jackets. They were covering the assassination of...
It doesn't matter if they're wearing their press jackets. If they're a valid military target, they could be doing anything. They could be wearing a clown costume, and they could still get targeted. Just because you work as a journalist, but you're also a Hamas terrorist, that doesn't mean you can't be fucking killed because you also work as a journalist. This is the same with any other fucking position. If you're a doctor, nurse, school teacher, imam, doesn't fucking matter. If you're linked to the terrorist organization, you are still a valid target. I don't know if these people were Hamas members, but reporting on this as if Israel just killed journalists because they don't like them, that is fucking retarded.
Ismail Haniyeh, they were on their way back from his house in Al-Shati refugee camp, and that's how the Israeli forces targeted them.
So a reporter in Gaza who had...
They're not refugee camps. Like, again, suck my dick.
Actually spent much of the day with the 2 Al Jazeera crew members, told CNN on Wednesday he was 300 meters away from the missile that hit their vehicle. Again, that white vehicle that we're talking about. Video from the scene shows.
If US and Canada ever go downhill and you wanna move to EU, consider Czechia. We're LGBT friendly, most atheist country in Europe. You can carry a gun for self-defense and there are no laws against cold weapons, so you can carry even a sword or an axe legally.
Czechia. I might have confused it with Chechnya, and I'm like, what? Okay. It's in between Germany and Poland. So it's probably not a complete shithole. Sounds like a pretty based country. I might actually consider that if the US and Canada ever become unlivable shitholes. One question though, do they drive on the wrong side of the road?
Young turds, do yourselves a favor and just go bankrupt already.
Yeah, I wish. Their reporting has become just absolute dog shit useless. Like, they're promoting pro-Russia propaganda, they're promoting Trump campaign propaganda, they hate Jews, and they're supporting anti-Semitism. It's just fucktarded. Okay, sweet. It actually looks like they drive on the right side of the road. Yeah, Czechia might actually be a good one. Looks pretty, too.
Do you think having a weapon on you is important? Have you or anyone you know ever had to use one or have been in a street fight where a gun or weapon was necessary?
Yes, if you have the ability to carry a weapon, and really any weapon, whether it be a knife, pepper spray, baton, a gun, I would say carry it if you're legally able to do so. There are some adverse circumstances where I might even recommend doing it illegally. I mean, I've seen, like, Chicago. There are kids that are targeted by gangs simply because they live in a particular apartment building. Like, if you're in a situation like that where you have gang members hunting you down just because you live in a particular apartment building, yeah, carry a fucking gun. It's better to risk, you know, being arrested by the fucking police than, you know, being fucking buried 6 feet under. So, if you really need it, just carry a gun on you, if that's the only thing that's gonna save you. But yeah, like, why would you ever disadvantage yourself by not carrying a weapon? It's stupid. It's like, the thing is, if you wanted to become, like, better at fighting and martial arts and shit, that's something that's going to require a lot of dedication, hard work, you know, lifting in the gym, running, cardio, technique training, sparring. That's not something everybody can practically do, but when you're talking about using a weapon like a firearm, that is a massive, massive force equalizer. Somebody can be as big and strong as they fucking want, but if you have a gun, they're not going to be able to take a bullet to the head, right? So that's a situation in which you can choose to be, you know, practically stronger, and it's literally just a simple choice to either carry or not carry. Why would you choose to be weak? Right? Like, why would you choose to put yourself in a situation where you're at a disadvantage against somebody who either has a weapon or multiple attackers or somebody who's just bigger and stronger than you? It's stupid. So yeah, if you have the ability, carry a weapon on you if you can legally do it. And ideally, if you can legally do it, get a firearm and carry it with you. It's just stupid not to. I have known some people who have been attacked by gang members. A guy in my math class who I was friends with was accosted by the Tamil Tigers. They're a stupid-ass dumb fuck gang in Canada. They're not really around anymore. They've either all gotten deported or arrested. But, yeah, on his way to school, this is a kid who is in, I think, fucking grade 10 or 11. These Tamil Tigers just started fucking with him and were asking him for money. And then when he said he didn't have any money on him, one of them pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the eye. He lost his eye. It's just gone now. He only has one eye left. His parents immediately moved out of the city after that happened. In that particular case, that's a kid in high school. He wouldn't have been able to carry a weapon on him, but I've known a few people, actually. Almost every friend I had in the gym had a story about the Tamil Tigers. There's one guy who was just at a Chinese restaurant, and some fucking Tamil Tiger idiot was harassing his girlfriend. He told him to fuck off. And then, like, the guy got offended And then he called like 20 of his fucking Tamil Tiger asshole buddies. Then all of a sudden, there's like 20 Honda Civics outside of this Chinese restaurant. And these fucking bitches tried fighting him. Only like 2 or 3 came up to him. He was able to fight 3 of them off. But again, that's another situation where if he was able to carry a weapon on him, you can't carry any weapons on you in Canada. It's because we're a gay, fucking cucked-ass country. But again, like, he could have gotten jumped by 20 people and would have had absolutely no fucking chance. But if he had a gun, he would have been able to blow those fuckers away. So I've known a few people who've been attacked who would have benefited from having a weapon on them. Thanks for the donation, though, Tool. Dodo donate $2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't this guy used to be like a woke hippie liberal, maybe even vegan? I don't know.
For a long time, Elizabeth, I've been concerned about the snobbery and contempt and condemnation in which people that support Donald Trump are plainly held by his detractors. And this is while you have an administration.
He was never... So he was never vegan. He was just eating a plant-based diet. He's married to some dumb bitch fucking meat eater. And he was defending her, saying, oh, it's everybody's choice to eat meat if they want. We shouldn't be attacking meat eaters. Nobody who's vegan would fucking say that. So by definition, the guy isn't vegan. Secondly, he was never a liberal or left-wing. These people like Russell Brand... They are what I would consider to be apolitical. They're apolitical because they only support political regimes that they think directly benefit them, and otherwise they're completely and utterly politically illiterate. This guy doesn't know anything about Donald Trump, anything about Joe Biden, doesn't know anything about the fucking political system, even in his own fucking country. He'll only support whatever side he thinks would benefit him in some way. So if somebody's offering lower taxes, he's gonna like vote for them. If somebody, if some political party is extremely popular and they think, you know, openly supporting that political party will help his career, he'll support them. But he's apolitical. He doesn't know anything about the fucking political system fucking anywhere. He's an absolute retard. So, yeah, him supporting Donald Trump, no shit. Like, his fan base are all, you know, conspiracy theory retards, so he's obviously going to support Trump just because his fan base, you know, supports it. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Poppy PP donated $2. Could you say hello to him? He's a member on your channel and an upcoming vegan YouTuber. Why did I move to Ottawa? 2 reasons. We found a house to rent out that was relatively cheap, and we also have better accommodations for our horse. So that's really the only 2 reasons.
But I can make a good case for ethical veganism.
Okay, I don't really know what he's doing.
Probably not. They have vastly different views on things. So different, I think, in fact, that...
Alright, well, good to see him streaming and uploading.
shows the burnt out shell of a small saloon car that appears to have been targeted from above. Al Ghul was wearing a press flak vest, as their colleague said when he was killed. He had not seen his wife and 2-year-old daughter Zaina, who were displaced in central Gaza, in 10 months. He wrote on X in June, "These days are not like any other. Zaina began running, talking, asking questions. She was growing up without me seeing her." And just more about the character of Ismail. Here is his colleague who continues.
I had this call with Ismail a couple of days ago, and we were talking about helping Palestinians sick in the northern parts and trying to find a way to evacuate to the southern parts of the Gaza Strip. Ismail was not only a journalist, but he was trying his best to help everyone in the north to help to find.
Let me see if I can find any info on this.
You see conservatives screaming tranny about the Italian girl that got clapped quick in Olympics boxing by the Algerian, saying it's not fair cause her opponent previously was disqualified cause of egg gender test. She may have Xi but she was born female. Thoughts?
I heard about that. I saw a little bit of Destiny's stream. Apparently she failed a chromosome test, but she was actually born female. She might have had that disorder, that androgen and insensitivity disorder. It's the Washington Post. I don't think they're really gonna... Here we go. Times of Israel. Let me see...
Now, in the Olympics boxing ring on Thursday, emotions running very high indeed. This following the Algerian fighter Emin Khalif's victory over Italian opponent Angela Carini. Now, this bout decided after only 45 seconds, the two boxers exchanging only a few punches before Carini walking away and abandoning the contest. Her headgear as well apparently becoming dislodged at least once before she quit. A spot of blood also on her trunk. The Italian did not shake her rival's hand either after the decision was announced. Carini also reduced to tears as well in the ring, sinking down to her knees. Now, Khalif is an accomplished amateur who won a silver medal at the 2022. Now, in the Olympics boxing ring from last year's championship, shortly before her gold medal match because of what were allegedly elevated levels of testosterone. Now, Khalif and Lin Yuting of Taiwan have received a huge amount of scrutiny for their presence in Paris after years of amateur competition. Lin won the IBA World Championships in 2018 and 2 years.
This involves real people, and we're talking about real people's lives here. They have competed and they continue to compete in the women's competition. They have lost and they have won against other women throughout over the years. And by the way, this should make this absolutely clear.
So apparently she failed an unspecified gender eligibility test. That is... So there's a really interesting PBS documentary on gender testing in Olympic sports. That can be anything from looking at women naked, having a gynecologist look up your vagina. That could be testing your chromosomes to see if you have an XY chromosome, or just looking at your circulating levels of androgens, or testing to see if you have a uterus and ovaries, or it could be all of them combined. So there are obvious ways in which a biological female could fail any of those tests. And there are ways a trans person could complete some of those tests and pass. So Yeah, if it's unspecified, I don't know why people are freaking out about her being trans.
To everyone, this is not a transgender issue. I know you know that, but I think there has been some misreporting on this, and I think it's very, very important to say that this is not a transgender issue. These women have been competing in competitions for many years. The testosterone is not a perfect test. Many women can have testosterone which is in what would be called male levels, and
So they just tested her testosterone. She may either be taking steroids or she has a gene mutation that prevents aromatization, which can also make you have very high levels of testosterone for a woman. The situation aside, do you think trans women should be allowed to compete against biological women? In most cases, probably not. There are some cases where probably wouldn't be a problem.
And still be women and still compete as women. So this panacea, this idea that suddenly you do one test for testosterone and that sorts everything out, not the case, I'm afraid.
So this was just a testosterone test. So she's not even trans. She just failed some test. IBA, which is not recognized by the International Olympics Committee, has said the specifics of the test are confidential, though IBA President Umar Kremlov alleged to Russian news agency TASS last year Khalif had XY chromosomes. That's really... who the fuck knows? That's a really bad source. The International Olympic Committee stood by Khalif's inclusion, saying in a statement that did not explicitly name the boxer that two athletes were the victims of sudden arbitrary decision by the IBA, likely referencing Khalif and fellow boxer, blah, blah, blah. So nobody actually knows if she was ever disqualified for having XY chromosomes, and apparently she failed some testosterone test. Like, by the way, this doesn't really look like a trans woman. Just looks like a chick to me. Let's see, Washington Post. Israeli military did not respond to a request for comment on the strike and targets. The IDF had no immediate comment on the strike. Israel denies targeting journalists and says it makes every effort to avoid harming civilians. Israel has noted those killed were operating within a war zone. It has also said some Palestinian journalists working in Gaza have been active members of terror groups like Hamas, and we know that for a fact. Yeah, the IDF may not directly comment on this because they might have some sensitive intelligence that they don't want to get leaked, but I'm guessing chances are these people were Hamas members.
We're nothing like Poland or Slovakia. Our government is also pretty pro-Israel. We'll have a big LGBT event in 10 days. Look up Prague Pride. BTW, here's my sword and dagger plus the scabbard that I made for it. Vegan materials OFC.
That's pretty dope. That'd be fun to duel somebody with. Fencing looks like fun. That's pretty cool. All right. I'll consider moving there if Canada and the US go to shit. Thanks for the donation, Jaquavius.
And food for everyone in the north, and he was just a very kind person, and despite the fact that we did not see each other for 10 months.
The video continues. Journalists and media workers have been killed since October in Jank, look, we have got a week of targeted strikes from Israel, not just Hania in Tehran, but a leader of Hamas, but a Hezbollah leader in Beirut, and now two, Al Jazeera press journalists wearing their press jackets. It seems like Israel can do targeted strikes if they want to. And yet we've got 40,000 plus civilians or people who've been killed in Gaza. Of course, Israel says they're mostly Hamas. It's just amazing how they can actually target people they want to kill when they want to.
Is she like just genuinely fucking retarded? I love how there are people who know nothing, like have no military training, never served in the military, don't know shit about armed conflicts, are like, well, if they could kill these two people in a targeted strike, why can't they do that all the time? Like, oh, fuck you. Well, that's Young Turks.
Other than I should have re-recorded a large part of that video before I posted it, because it's like a 3-day turnaround for all my videos, and it's just, your video is an interesting pill to swallow.
Yeah, I've considered a career in the military before, just decided not to because few reasons. You don't get paid enough, living conditions are kind of annoying, you have to like share beds or like bedrooms with people, stuff like that.
For sure. It's very, very, very interesting. And a lot of it's like, well, I'll ask you some questions. So firstly, I'd like to say that I'm sorry, genuinely. And I'm not one to apologize for just no reason at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't even expect you to apologize when I watched your video. And like, maybe it's because I've watched your content before and I know you're sort of a Mr. Beast defender, but I wasn't expecting, it was pretty much on par with what I expected, I guess.
Okay.
And I thought it was
got me.
Fair.
Oh, see, that's what I was trying to do. See, I was trying to be fair. I generally, I'm now the Mr. Beast apologist on YouTube though.
Yeah. Well, I think every creator is.
That's true. But I don't want to be. I want to be honest, though. I want to have good faith. I don't want to be right. I just want to be honest. And, if my intent is not matching with the information that I have in front of me, and like there's some crazy level of cognitive dissonance, it needs to be made clear. So that's the whole point of this, hopefully. We'll be able to...
Address your cognitive dissonance?
Yes, exactly. I was going to say bury the hatchet, but that's nonsense. All right, so I got a list of questions here. Did you ever get to meet Mac? Are there numerous employees like Mac who have won prizes, or is Mac the main guy? Have you ever met anyone else?
I have met Mac.
Okay.
I remember, I don't know if you know how I got hired, but I had posted... I sent them my job application, but they also don't usually respond. So I also posted it on the Reddit, and then someone had contacted me. But in that job application, which is public, I'm detailing all these ways that faking videos is bad or whatever in my opinion. And I use Mac as a reference. And then I get to the company and it's my first day and I just see Mac in the hallways and I'm like, the fuck? They know you work here.
Interesting. So he was kind of like yeah, it's bizarre. Yeah. Do you think they didn't do any research into you first, or do you believe that they just not care?
Well, my first manager, I think I sort of slipped through the cracks.
Okay.
Because my first manager left, he put in his 2 weeks notice the second day that I was at the company.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's a whole thing. But
so the main thing that you've claimed really there's two kind of big points that are really egregious in my opinion in all of your claims, and that is number one, the illegal lottery thing. That's bad. Okay, that's objectively bad. That's a crime. That's fraud. Nobody should do that. Secondarily, the big thing is that people have said for so long is that his videos are faked, and the extent of which they are faked. Do you think that some of the philanthropy channel videos are faked? They're obviously a different thing because it's all for good. What is your stance on the philanthropy aspect of the Mr. Beast industrial complex?
It's hard to go into the philanthropy right now because that's kind of what I'm investigating.
Okay.
And I've received DMs from people who I have verified as Mr. Beast employees claiming different ways in which they're sort of...
Juicy $8. This is a Jerry Springer episode.
Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Dave, I got a question for you, Dave. I hope you can help me out here. I've been trying to decide which way to go here. Okay, recently retired. Had a medical condition that forced me to retire. Had to take a cut in pay. I owe $90,000 on a $240,000 house. It'll be paid off in 7 years. I own my car. I own my truck. The question is this: having some health issues. I'm thinking about moving. My wife's been helping me, and now she's pregnant. She needs.
He must have a pretty young wife. She's got to be like at 40 at least, probably even younger.
Help. I'm thinking about sending her out to her relatives in another state. And I'm saying, well, if she go out there, who's going to help me? So I'm thinking about relocating, selling the house. And I'm trying to decide, should I keep the house, wait for her to get back in 3 to 4 months, sell the house, go out there. And I'm kind of stuck here because I'm trying to get help here. And if I don't.
How old are you?
I am 64.
And you have a baby on the way?
Yes.
Okay. How old is your wife?
37.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
It's almost half his age.
And what's the nature of your health problem, sir?
I have to do with muscle
Diabetes.
condition, rare disorder.
Mm-hmm.
They trying to figure it out as they go along.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So 6 months, 8 months from today, where do you all want to be living with your new baby?
Preferably in a house that we can afford. This one, but thinking about going to another state.
Why?
Thinking about just because there's relatives and help out there.
Okay. So you've got family in another area, and that's attractive. Right. What area is that?
Out in California.
He's going to say no. I would probably say no, too. California is pretty goddamn expensive. And taxes in California are fucking ridiculous.
Closer to, I want to say Riverside. Closer to Riverside.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a wee bit different price market than Buffalo, New York, brother.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah.
I think the monthly storage rates are about $390,000.
Yeah. I don't think if you want to do something affordable and your income was just cut and your health is failing and you have a brand new baby on the way, probably the California real estate market is not going to be friendly to you, my friend.
I'd be getting my Kansas on, Hicks.
Yeah. I'd be looking
Kansas?
for
Kansas or West Texas. That's where I'd be going.
Some place that's affordable and or stay where you are. You don't have friends and family there?
Yeah, I do. Seem like a lot of people busy.
Yeah, they're busy in California too.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
That they're busy? People don't want to help you?
I don't know why he wouldn't just keep the house he already has. That's kind of weird.
They help as they can.
Like, he only has $90K to pay off. Like, just fucking dig a little deep and then pay it off.
Yeah.
Are you specific in your help requests?
Yeah. I got some help, and then I told them what's going on. I've been with the doctors back and forth. It came on so suddenly, I really didn't have a chance to catch my breath too much. I was. They say it's rare, and they don't see it that much, and they're doing all these different things to try to help me. And
does your wife work outside the home, sir?
She did until she got further along in her pregnancy.
Yeah. Okay. Because
you know, that sounds like some fucking horseshit. Like, unless his wife is, I don't know, doing some sort of labor job, like a fucking Amazon warehouse supplier or something. You can work while fucking pregnant. There's a fucking woman in the Olympics who competed in fencing who did it while pregnant.
It sounds like y'all are going to need her income to come back after the baby comes. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly what we've been talking about. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. So.
And let me guess, the reason why she decided to keep the baby is because it's an excuse to not work and stay at home and make this guy's life miserable.
That's where I'm at, Dave. And
yeah, I don't have a magic wand. If you told me a bunch of friends and family were in an affordable market, I would be all for this. You're talking about moving to one of the more expensive areas in the world.
Okay.
And so, Riverside is just not cheap, man. And it's not, your mind's gonna be blown what it'll take to buy a house like you've got right now there. And so it's just not transferable. I think the help you would gain is going to be.
What are your thoughts on THC usage as a means to increase appetite? It's highly variable. There's some people who get a massive appetite increase from taking THC. There are people who have the exact opposite, where it actually lowers their appetite. So, there are some inherent downsides with taking THC as well. It seems like it might actually have some neurodegenerative effects. Some people who are susceptible to getting psychosis or schizophrenia definitely want to avoid taking THC. Long term, it seems to have some pretty bad effects on the brain when it comes to short-term memory. So I wouldn't really recommend it as a drug to increase appetite. There are specific drugs that are made. They're usually made for anorexics or elderly people that are designed to increase your appetite. So I would say you probably want to go with a drug like that if you have serious issues with appetite, where you're literally going to like starve to death otherwise. I wouldn't really recommend taking THC. Natural methods of appetite increase will probably just work for you, no problem. So doing very short bursts of extremely high intensity exercise, so like 10 minutes on a stationary bike as hard as you possibly can, that is a good way to increase appetite without having too much like interference with other training, if that's a consideration for you. The only reason I'm considering it because it's also a possible treatment for my arthritis. Oh, okay. I don't think that's really going to do anything for your arthritis. Taking CBD oil that's low in THC and high in cannabinoids, that would help your arthritis. The high THC stuff probably wouldn't do anything. You want something that has very high cannabinoid content. And even that, I don't think it really has much efficacy with treating inflammation. Eating a good diet and doing weight training is going to be the best way to treat arthritis, assuming it's not like rheumatoid arthritis. But yeah, you can do like very high intensity, short bursts of exercise. That usually helps jog people's appetite. You can also just eat more satiating food. So rather than just having plain rice, cook rice in some sort of vegetable broth to make it more flavorful. Add a bit more salt to your meals. Just learn how to cook better. Eat more tasty food. That usually makes people's appetite increase because the more palatable food is, higher propensity you have to eat more. And on top of that, like, I mean, you can just kind of just eat more calorically dense foods. So drizzle olive oil on like anything you're eating. So if you're having like a sandwich, drizzle some olive oil on it. If you're having some like vegan chicken with some rice and stuff, drizzle olive oil on it. If you're having a salad, drizzle a lot of olive oil on it. Olive oil is a great tool for increasing calories, and it also has very potent antioxidant benefits. And you can always have like weight gainer smoothies that are healthy. So like mix in some protein powder with some peanut butter. You can mix in some other nuts too if you want, like almonds. And then that's like quite a lot of calories that you can just gulp down. Avoid eating things like soups because soups tend to be lower in calories and very high in satiety. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend taking anything high in THC. And on top of that, like, you can also get like fucking high, and then if you have to drive somewhere, if there's an emergency, that would be a problem. Elias donated $2. Watch till the end, lol.
A penalty point has been awarded. And we have extremely dramatic scenes here.
Well, they need to take control, they need to move on. This is not what the sport's about. It's been much, much bigger than this throughout, and this is very unfortunate. Respect for athletes, respect for the sport is what's dominated here. This is,
Hell yeah, take off your clothes, make them mad.
and they need to get onto the mat and usher these gentlemen out. We won't see them again in international. We will not see these men again in international wrestling. There is no doubt about that. Let's worry about the athlete. Let's worry about the winner. There's a bronze medalist out there who's just looking to bow to his opponent.
That's pretty good. They knew the answer.
Riddler, and
Oh, this guy's a piece of shit.
I'm here to see if anybody is clever enough to solve some of my riddles. Do you
Is he just gonna say the N-word?
guys want to try?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah? Riddle me this.
Yeah.
They are loud and obnoxious. They like music that rhymes. They are a fraction of the
Yeah, black. He's gonna say the N-word.
population, and they commit half the crimes. Who are they?
I know the answer, but I'm not saying that.
Yeah, this guy is a piece of shit. Thanks for the donation, Elias.
Be far offset by the increased cost, and I don't think it's going to be worth it. So if you have a different location with some family that is an affordable location, maybe the move makes sense. But I think you guys have got to continue to talk through where you want to be that you can afford to live and prosper with the current situation you find yourself in. A new baby, a 37-year-old wife that's working, you've got a muscular disorder of some kind, and you're trying to, where do I want to be living in that situation for this next chapter of my life, and that I can afford. And I think if you make a visit out to the California market that you're talking about, I think you're going to discover quickly that that's not affordable to you, and with what you're describing to me. So I might be wrong. There may be something I don't know, but so you could go look at it. It doesn't cost that much to go look. But I'm going to have a plan B.
Gaming tonight?
Yeah, we're probably going to play some Tekken 8 matches. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
If we don't go there, what are we going to do? And then under that situation, I'll go look. But don't tell me you were forced to move to an area you can't afford, because you're not forced. You just got.
I can't believe this woman is running for public office.
These faggots should get their own faggot category, because before, if a man hit a woman, it used to land him in jail.
This wasn't even a trans woman. That's what makes this all that much worse.
Now, it gets you a gold medal at the Olympics. These are the worst Olympics in history. They have made a mockery out of Christianity and women. And let me remind you, there's no such thing as a chick with a dick. Keep women's sports female.
Again, this person was born female. Who the fuck is this? Valentine Gomez? Really? Jesus. Like, there's no way you would ever be able to serve in government in Canada if you made social media posts like this. Like, how the fuck does that happen in the US? Thanks for the donation, PP. Like, you can literally be a KKK member and, like, run for president in the US. It's just insane. Riley donates $2. Can you react to the whole thing, or 17 minutes till 18? Stephen Fry makes a very good point about the simple man Jesus and the power of Catholic Church. I'm not fucking watching the whole thing. That just
There
be a
are
waste of time.
occasions, as Gwendolyn remarked, Quakers. Who could possibly quarrel with a Quaker? With their pacifism, with their openness, with their ease, with their simplicity, with their refusal to tell anybody what's a dogma and what isn't, even with Methodists also. I'm not saying Protestantism is the answer against Catholicism. I am merely saying there are all kinds of ways we can search for the truth. You do not need this imperial panoply of marble and gold. Do you know who would be the last person ever to be accepted as a prince of the church? The Galilean carpenter, that Jew. They would kick him out before he tried to cross the threshold. He would be so ill at ease in the church. That simple and remarkable man, if he said the things that he was said to have said, what would he think? What would he think of St. Peter's? What would he think?
Yeah, that is not interesting. Thanks for the donation, Riley.
Got to make some different choices there in Buffalo. Man, I'm sorry. I wish I had a magic wand that could make all this go away, and I don't. There's not a good answer to that bad.
Tekken still crashes occasionally, but I can play the game, and usually I can get like 10 matches out of the way before it crashes.
Situation, folks. There's just some answers. There's just some. We can just kind of walk with you and think with you while you're facing these things, but there's not a. There's not a simple thing and just go do that. It's not. There's a lot going on here, and all we can do is just sit here and be a sounding board with you and bounce those ideas back at you and see if they sound crazy when they come back at you across the net.
Yeah, and just a quick note: if you are reaching out and everyone sounds busy, everyone's got quote unquote stuff going on. Doesn't work every time, but often.
All right.
Sort of fluffed up, in sort of a controlled narrative. Like, I'll give one example, which is a DM I received about somebody saying that when he healed 1,000 blind people, many of those people were going to get the surgery for cheap or for free, regardless.
Okay.
And he maybe
That makes sense. Elias donated $2. Let me see. Difficulty level Indian.
Good. Very good. Okay. Hey, this is dangerous.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. That's a very interesting monkey. Thanks for the donation, Elias.
expedited the process or something.
So,
with any sort of
why don't I like Trudeau? He's an asshole. He wants to take away firearms rights for literally zero reason. There isn't a single police agency in the entire country that was in support of the firearms ban, because they were all saying this is not going to do anything for crime. We all know all the guns are getting bought illegally. Most of them are getting smuggled across the US-Canada border. So banning firearms nationwide would not do anything to stop crime. And sure enough, they were right. Shootings have actually gone up. You're seeing an increase in shootings and firearms homicides since all of these bans because, yeah, no shit. People who just buy guns to go target shooting aren't fucking shooting like black kids. So he makes these like stupid fucking policies that massively inconvenience and harm, law-abiding citizens completely and utterly arbitrarily, just so it looks like he did anything as prime minister. Secondly, his economic policies aren't that great. He hasn't really done anything to solve the issue with the housing market. The economy isn't doing great overall. He's also had incredibly irresponsible spending where he's wasted tens of billions of fucking dollars on literally nothing. And just overall, he's an incredibly weak, unreliable liar that you just wouldn't want to be prime minister.
Full credit for it.
Yeah, so it's not to say that it's like totally necessary. Like, you're not trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's more so just like for the sake of transparency, right? Like, this man is claiming all these things. He should be able to be 110% transparent. Like, you shouldn't spin something that has a possibility. Go ahead.
Yeah, the logic there, I think that the company would respond if it was like 100% undeniable that they fluffed things up. Is like, okay, well, we're fluffing it up for entertainment value so that the video gets more views, we get more ad revenue. Like, most of the 501c stuff, it's legitimate. I'll say that. Like, it's not to discredit his charity work, but sometimes there's like the charity is being used to fund certain interests. I've also heard like he was exposed for trashing a beach, essentially. This was like a controversy a while ago, but it didn't get much attention. And I've heard that it was the philanthropy side of the business that actually went and cleaned up the beach instead of like his production company. So it's like back to shady, but
Right. Huh. Yeah, because that's where my biggest kind of like problems lie with all this stuff is the lack of transparency from like business dealings intrinsically. Because it's cool to have someone be honest and everything when you're running a business, but like from the creator side of it, to be as successful as he is, or to be as successful really as any, you have to do things occasionally that are immoral, but you don't have to use your charity company to claim a beach that you messed up. And like, you don't have to make the claim about the candy being healthy, the 5-in-1, like you don't have to do all those things, but like it's like, well, it's for entertainment. So that's my scapegoat. That's why I don't need to.
Yeah, that was one of the best gaffes I've ever fucking seen. This jackass was preaching about how he wants to do something to curb American obesity, and then he releases a fucking chocolate bar.
Be transparent. It's an invalid defense.
yeah, and those are just allegations that have been messaged. So I haven't really dug super deep into it, which is why I haven't made any definitive statements on anything.
And looking on, is there anything that, from your first video that you sort of want to amend, or do you have, are you 110% sure you're justified and validated?
Or do you want to just go through Chucky's tweet, or no?
Yeah, I can go ahead and go through Chucky's tweet.
Like, as far as the claims of like selling fake signatures, rigging contest videos, and illegal lotteries, obviously, like I think those claims are legitimate, and I stand 100% by them. They just took down the 5-hour live stream on their Facebook page,
right?
So I feel like
that
that's
validates
sort of an acknowledgement.
Yeah.
We can go through like Chucky's specifics that he called me out on, because he cherry picked the worst arguments in the video, obviously, and even these, like, I don't think his rebuttals are great, and he didn't really provide any evidence.
Okay, so I've got Chucky's tweet here. He said, "You won't get in a video unless your family or friends are with someone that works at Beast Inc." I can just put his statement on screen. You already know his statement. We don't need to go through the whole thing. But
yeah, so in that instance, I don't know what he's quoting. He's putting things in quotation marks, but I never said that. Like, you watched my video, you know that I
didn't
said.
say that. Yeah.
So just straw man argument, and then the train track with CGI, bus filter CGI, Pitt is fake. That's probably his best rebuttal. However, when that video came out, Train versus Pitt, Jimmy received a lot of criticism about using CGI in that video, and I can send you some screen caps. Like, he was denying it in YouTube comments and on Twitter. Like, they say, oh, it was never a secret, but it's like, well, when you're being criticized for using CGI, why are you not openly acknowledging it? Again, not a big claim in my video.
What about the raccoon?
Dude, the raccoon, in reality, it's much worse than being a paid actor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a domestic raccoon that they brought to the set, and they're like sort of treating it like a prop. They're putting it in the ceiling and then pretending like, they just discovered it.
Yeah, exactly.
But then there's a scene where somebody off camera takes the raccoon and like throws it onto the bed. And I'm sure you can pull this clip up. The edit is very strange because there's a zoom in and pan up, so it like hides the fact that the raccoon is going on the bed. But what it's really doing is hiding the fact that someone's throwing the raccoon. And then there's a voiceover in post of Jimmy saying, "Oh man, the raccoon just ran in the hotel," or whatever. And they're like screaming at it and shit. So it's like almost, I wouldn't say animal abuse, but like it's kind of borderline mistreatment when you're just like using it as a prop and then sparing it for no reason.
Yeah, I don't like the whole,
Yeah, that's pretty shitty.
That's bizarre. Yeah, that's really weird. The island costs more than $1. What about that? What do we think about that? What do you think about that response?
If you literally Google what he tells you to Google, it used to say that it was $1 for the transfer fee, but $27 plus taxes and everything. Also, like, the tax property records show that the island is valued at $800, and then they lease it back to the owner for $0. But it's like, dude, who gives a shit that the island didn't cost $1? It's just insane that they go to such extremes to never admit that they've ever faked anything. That Chucky released his statement at 4 a.m., which is like, I think that's very intentional to when I'm sleeping.
Yeah, absolutely. And the article has been changed, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, so
it's a change article.
You're gonna do all that effort to just not admit that the island was $28 instead of $1 or $800 instead of $1.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, who cares? Yeah. Like why would you? Why would you?
Oh, Racco donate $2. What Americans think true gangsters or the cartel music is like.
Jesus, that's my homes.
That is terrible. And what the cartel actually listens to. Dude, that's fucking crazy. Imagine the amount of police corruption there has to be in Mexico for them to ride around with a fucking 50 cal Barrett just lying on the hood of their car. Dude, the hip-hop industry in America is so fucked, LMFAO. Yeah, it is. It's all fucking garbage, too. It's not even good music. Thanks for the donation, El Racco.
Defend that so heavily. Like, yeah, we did it for a video, of course. It's not that big of a deal. The video got a lot of views. But that's like the whole thing, is like he's building up this massive empire. It's all predicated on the generosity.
Do you think the gun ban is good for Canadian culture and could help reduce crime long term? No, it'll do absolutely nothing. If anything, it will worsen firearms violence. And there's probably a few reasons for that. The main reason, and this is a phenomena that you quite often see in other countries that have enacted an NFA. If law-abiding citizens can't get access to firearms, that means they don't have any way to defend themselves. So if criminals know if they're going to rob you, like in a daylight, mugging, or if they're going to try to steal your car or do a home invasion, and they know with a high degree of certainty that most people aren't going to have firearms, they're more emboldened to commit these crimes. So you can look at data. In Ireland, I think when they enacted an NFA, there was a spike in firearms crimes, and that's a country that has no native firearm production. In the UK, after they enacted their NFA, you saw a spike in firearms violence immediately after the act. And it wasn't until a couple years later, after they increased mandatory minimum sentencing for anybody convicted of some sort of firearms crime, that they saw a reduction in firearms violence. You can also look at crime statistics throughout the United States. So states that allow you to either open or conceal carry, you see changes in criminal activity. So people who conduct home invasions in Texas, they generally avoid invading somebody's home if they're home. So they'll wait for everybody to leave. In states where either firearms are strictly prohibited, or in other countries like the UK, where they know chances are nobody's going to own a gun, they're much more likely to invade somebody's home while they're home. And that also increases the risk of somebody dying because the person's actually there. They might fight back and then get shot. You also see far fewer muggings in states like Texas versus, somewhere like California, where your right to carry is severely restricted, much more difficult to get a license to carry. So again, when criminals know you're not armed, they're more likely to victimize you. So that is likely another reason for the increase in firearms violence that we're seeing in Canada. Criminals know, okay, well, nobody can get handguns. Most firearms are banned now, or, whatever they arbitrarily classified as an assault weapon. So they're just more emboldened to, attack people. Secondly, because there are fewer legal avenues to get weapons they want, particularly handguns, that's going to increase firearms trafficking across the border. So if you have increased firearms trafficking across the border, that's going to incentivize more criminals to traffic more firearms, and thus it's going to be a bit easier for criminals to actually get a hold of some of these guns that they want, because now you have increased smuggling across the border. So bigger market, that means it's easier to acquire a gun, and then they can shoot more fucking people. So, no. The only way you're going to see a reduction in firearms violence in Canada is if they increase mandatory minimum sentencing, or if there's some, like, demographic changes or, like, social changes where, you know, people can make more money, they don't really need to resort to crime, stuff like that. Riley donated $2. If I sent you a political typology quiz, would you be willing to do it for $10? As long as it's not too long, then sure. But if it's going to take like 30 minutes, then no. Thanks for the donation, Riley.
Generosity, the genuine nature, the philanthropy, the transparency, that's what it's all that is like the main thing holding all this up. So it has to be, the criticism for that has to be acknowledged.
Yeah, I don't know if I can speak to this. I think him saying, how on earth would you know, is like baiting me into giving confidential information, like breaking my NDA or whatever. Because actually people think that I broke my NDA, but like 90% of that video is public information, and then like the other 10% is about crimes. It was like, it was pretty decently strategic. I don't think they would have a case, and like I've spoken with lawyers and everything, so. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you, I got a cease and desist.
From Beast.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You can put that up. I can send that to you.
Yeah, dude. Satan, Lord of Darkness. Is that real? I think they forgot to change that. Mr. Beast YouTube LLC. I think disclosing sensitive, confidential, proprietary information. Company business. How do you feel about that? Do you feel nervous, or do you feel
no.
excited?
I feel confident.
You feel
not excited. But...
What a surprise! Mr. Beast trying to silence a critic. This guy's just a fucking scumbag, dude.
Little nervous. A little bit. You gotta feel a little. I would be shitting myself if I were you.
Do I gamble? Technically I do. I do play the lottery, and I'm pretty confident in the next couple days I'm gonna be a millionaire. But we'll see. I think the draw for the Lotto Max is 70 million, and it's 34 million for the 649. So, yeah, ideally I would win the Lotto Max and get 70 million, but I think I'd be fine with 39 million or 34 million, whatever it is.
No, I'm not shitting myself.
Well, you're
because it's 100% expected. It's 100% expected.
Right. I mean, to be honest, like it's cool to be nervous, not scared though, because like you are coming from the perspective.
I don't think I will publicly say I won the lottery, but you're probably going to see signs that I won the lottery. If you see me with any new expensive cars like an Ariel Atom, or you see me driving a Panigale V4, it's a good chance I won the lottery.
Of this is what you believe is truth, and you're doing this out of good faith. Like it doesn't, the whole disgruntled employee thing, that's sort of that was.
No, I don't see myself running as prime minister in the future. There's no way I'd ever. There's so many roadblocks. One, I would have to be bilingual, so I'd have to be fluent in French. Secondly, I would have to actually get some sort of employment within the government of Canada, which I'm just not going to do. And third, I'm such a controversial and divisive figure, there's just no way I'd ever be able to win.
My initial response as well. It's like, because we've seen so many of these types of things happen, but at some point, it becomes like, if it looks like a duck.
Take too long, only 16 questions.
All right, let me see. What quiz am I supposed to do? I think you shared a link to your results or something. What is this? I don't understand. There isn't a... How am I supposed to do whatever quiz this is? I don't know where I'm supposed to do this quiz. I think he gave me the wrong link. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you gave me the wrong link, dude. Thanks for the donation, Riley.
And it quacks like a duck. It's probably a duck, and that duck doesn't mean that they're all disgruntled employees. It's that maybe there's something going on internally at the company to cause these disgruntled employees, quote unquote. It's become a bizarre thing. I'm interested to see how the coverage of this continues to go further and further. You need to keep me updated on your cease and desist, because you're not ceasing or desisting. It seems like. So let's see. Revenge storyline added in post.
Yeah, 100% is added in post. 100%.
Okay.
There's a clip of Jimmy in an interview with John Ushai or whatever, and he says, "Oh, this is why he got out," or I don't know, maybe.
Whoopsies, sorry VG, I randomly answered the questions. Here you go from the start.
All right, thanks, dude. If you had to choose, would you rather have smaller government providing fewer services, bigger government providing more services? Let's say bigger. When you say you favor bigger government providing more services, do you think it would be better to modestly expand on government services, greatly expand? I mean, depends on what it is. These questions are fucking stupid. I guess in Canada, I'd say modestly. Which of the following... Okay, this is America, so... Say US has to greatly expand. Which of the following statements comes closest to your view? America's openness to people from all over the world is essential to who we are as a nation. If America's too open to people from all over the world, we risk losing our identity as a nation. These are stupid fucking questions. Pick the first. In general, would you say experts who study a subject for many years are usually better at making good policy decisions about the subject than other people? Usually worse, neither worse. So better. Think about increased trade of goods and services between U.S. and other nations in recent decades. Would you say the U.S. has gained more than it has lost because of increased trade? Has helped lower prices and increase the competitiveness of some U.S. businesses? Lost more than it has gained because increased trade has cost jobs in manufacturing and other industries. I'd say lost. How much more, if anything, needs to be done to ensure equal rights for all Americans, regardless of their race, racial, or ethnic backgrounds? I'd say a little. Which of the following statements comes closer to your view? Business corporations make too much profit. Most corporations make a fair and reasonable. Way too much. How much, if at all, would it bother you to regularly hear people speak a language other than English in public places in your community? Not at all. On a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 means you feel as cold and negative as possible, and 100 means you feel as warm and positive as possible, how do you feel towards Democrats? So I'd say 60, Republicans 0. Which of these statements best describes your opinion about the United States? The U.S. stands above all other countries. The U.S. is one of the greatest countries, along with some others. There are other countries that are better than the U.S. These are dumb questions, and none of the answers are particularly good. Definitely are better countries than the U.S. How much of a problem, if any, would you say each of the following are in the country today? People being too easily offended by things others say. Say it's more of a minor problem. People saying things that are very offensive to others. It's a minor problem. Which comes closer to your view of candidates for political office, even if neither is exactly right? I usually feel there's at least one candidate who shares most of my views. None of the candidates present my views well. Between like Joe Biden, Trump, Harris, say most. General, how much do white people benefit from advantages in society that black people have? Not too much. Do you think greater social acceptance of people who are transgender, people who identify, blah, 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 very good for society, somewhat good, neither good nor bad? Overall, would you say people who are convicted of crimes in other countries serve too much time in prison? In this country, serve too much time in prison, too little, about the right amount of time? I'd say about the right. Which of the following statements comes closest to your views? Religion should be kept separate from government. Government policy should support religious values. In the future, do you think U.S. policy should try to keep it so America is the only military superpower? It would be acceptable if another country became a military? No. Apparently, I'm a Democratic mainstay. All right, there you go.
He did get out just because he didn't know, or he thought no one else stepped out, and like that's the truth of the matter. Like, who cares again? He's just addressing points. That's like, even if I prove that it was fake, I feel like a lot of people in the Twitter comments have been like, well, who really cares that the island cost $28?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, well, you're right.
That's me.
It's
That's
not about them. Yeah, it's not about it's just about them covering it up to such an extreme degree that they can't admit to one little thing.
Yeah, and to be honest too, I don't feel like this doesn't feel like as much of an attack as I thought it was on day one. Like, it's genuinely just like you need to be held responsible. These are all valid criticisms. Like, there's this is not in bad faith. This is good faith, and it's for kids. Like, that's 3 days on, or however many days it's been. That's where I'm at with the whole thing. Whereas day one, I was like, eating my Feastables or whatever, which I don't even like Feastables. I've only eaten them on camera once, and I don't like chocolate very much, so it's like not even that crazy. But it's funny reading all the negative comments in my video though. It's very interesting. They think that I have a collab brewing with Mr. Beast. He's never even yeah, dude. I've literally turned down so much shit on YouTube. I do not give a about YouTubers, but I just want to be honest, and that's what this seems like. It seems like that's what you kind of started off doing in the beginning, which is good, and you're not being forced to be honest like some people. Not only were the results of the video completely scripted, but the contestants are not random subscribers.
Yeah, upper echelon posted a whole video almost exclusively about this claim, and he goes into like case law about how he blatantly rigged the results of a challenge and how that could be illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, his point is basically like, why does the world's largest game show, the highest viewership, not have to follow traditional regulations?
It's a good point. That's what it all boils down to too. That's like I don't know why it's like not a thing that everyone can just be like, this is the reasonable confrontation. That this is the reasonable thing. Why would they need to send you a cease and desist for any of this? That's what I don't understand. Like, if it's all stuff that people talk about, like you're not being like Mr. B.
You don't have to publicly reveal yourself when you collect the lottery winnings. That's a myth.
Beast is the Antichrist. Well, maybe a little bit, but like at the same time, who cares, right? That's something I actually. Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that part. I watched it minute one. Like literally, I think it had maybe 30,000 views when I watched it, and I don't remember when that was. But it's interesting. It's really interesting. Like why? I don't know.
Yeah, my point wasn't that he is the Antichrist, but I wanted to basically say, people at the company speculate that he is the Antichrist, but then it's like that's total hearsay. I have no evidence of that.
People at the own company do?
Yeah. I mean, he's in the Bible Belt, and it's like people sort of joking, feeling around ideas is the impression I get from it. It's like one girl talked to me about it, like explaining her theory in detail, actually referencing Bible verses and shit. And I'm not Christian, I don't know any of this, and it seemed like she was looking for me to sort of offer her like comfort or validation, to be like, nah, that's crazy or whatever.
Interesting. Wow, that is very funny. Imagine walking around in your organization and there are people who work for you who think you might non-ironically be the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Dude, no wonder this video did well. People are thinking it. It's just a thing.
Oh yeah, I have so many former employees in my DMs that are like agreeing and like even some that obviously everybody wants to be anonymous. People who were in the videos in the past, like that are known.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Chandler?
No. But if he reads Book of Revelations tomorrow on TikTok, holy shit.
Also, I think some of the Mr. Beast giveaways are fake. Did they fake giveaways, you think?
I think some of them just kind of slip through the cracks, or it's like, you're giving away 1,000 phones, maybe one producer, they want one for their nephew or something. No one's like actually regulating. It's not like the FTC's watching over their shoulder, so you can get away with some small things here and there. But most of the giveaways are legit.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing too. It's like, if you're predicating your brand on this is the giveaway thing, you don't have the inch of wiggle room to just give a phone to a producer. You don't have that thing. If it's like once a year, whatever, but no, yeah, that's Mr. Beast. Like it's a totally different thing. Like the PNC, the company that gives away those, or Publishers Clearinghouse or whatever, the people who give away those checks all the time and people win the lottery and all that stuff. If someone in that company were to be giving money to someone outside the rules of the law, they would get destroyed and be seen 100% bad faith and go to jail probably via the FTC. So it's like, you know, rules for thee, but not for me, because Mr. Beast is a pioneer and a trailblazer.
Oh, actually, referring to giveaways, I do have new evidence of like potentially another legitimate crime, which is that I talked about the golden ticket giveaway for the Willy Wonka video and how one of those tickets went to a YouTuber called Della Vlogs. There was another former employee DM'd me on Twitter, and he told me that there's another contestant in that video who his name is Justin, and he's Ava Chris Tyson's cousin. If they have some explanation, like maybe the contestant dropped out or something, they replaced him with him, then they could be fined. Like in a sweepstakes, if he actually won a golden ticket, which is what the employee is telling me, then that's completely illegal because you have to disqualify your family members,
right?
Of employees. So
that's interesting.
That is really, really shitty.
Your second video coming out?
Well, I gotta talk to my lawyers, you know.
Oh shit. You gotta talk to lawyers, and you gotta get more mushrooms. More mushrooms. Is that what Chunky said? That explains your erratic behavior.
Yeah, my erratic behavior. He also said like I only worked at the company for a month. Sort of deceptive. I mean, I was contacted by the company back in February 19th, and then February 22nd, I signed a non-disclosure agreement, and I started working with the company. It was just unpaid, whether you call that like a trial or training or whatever. But then I got to Greenville March 10th, and there was just like no time with the CEO or whatever to like sign the paperwork apparently.
Okay.
So that's why March 25th, 15 days after I arrived at Greenville, is when I officially started the 90-day contract. And then after I got fired, April 19th, the day that I got fired, one of Mr. Beast's oldest YouTube friends, like he's known him since 10K subscribers, he called me and he said that he wanted to hire me, but he had to ask Mr. Beast first, like Mr. Beast Corporation, for permission, because his company, one of their clients is Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast Corporation didn't say like, oh, don't hire him, he's erratic. And then after I got hired by his company, I was again doing work for Mr. Beast, and I was like in contact with people at Mr. Beast.
Interesting. It's just another one of those sort of weird things where they're like unnecessarily adding layers to something that's really not that complicated.
There's such like loophole specific
that's weird.
Paperwork people, which I can send evidence of all of what I just claimed too if you want to include that in your video and put it on screen.
You can only be so fair without evidence,
Sir William
and I'm trying to be
Squire
as fair as possible.
von
And so far the evidence is we've got an argument of good faith and then an argument of bad faith. That's pretty much what it boils down to. And yours is the good faith one, by the way. Jimmy spends unfathomable amounts of money and time to ensure the integrity of what he does, and I hate to see it come to question with a bunch of lies. Dawson, if you leave this up, then you're a hypocrite. Do you think that is a true statement? How much control does Mr. Beast actually have? How much do you think you can blame these things that, it's Mr. Beast. That's it. It's him. How much can you blame on the people around him reasonably? Not saying you ever should. He is the face and the name and the main guy he's going to be extracting the most from this, so he should be able to take the responsibility of all the faults and criticisms, etc. But if you were to be as fair as you possibly could and even play devil's advocate, what would you say percentage-wise? What's Mr. Beast's fault? What is not?
Yeah, no, I actually like play with this idea and speculate a lot. Like, okay, if Jimmy was fully innocent, how could he get into this position? And it'd be like, you hire people who do bad things, and then they use those bad things as like blackmail cards against you. So like maybe somebody pressured him really hard into selling fake signatures, and now that they know that he sold fake signatures, it's harder to fire them in case they go to Time Magazine. Like concept called like blackmail inflation. So I don't know, anything could be possible. Mr. Beast could be completely innocent. I've seen some behaviors and things that make me think that he's not, like what I told you privately in DMs and everything. But yeah, so I don't know, 50-50. Let's call 50-50.
So that's where I'm kind of that as well, because I have some character references. So after seeing everything that you've said, right, I feel like even in spite of character references and in spite of like low IQ, he's a philanthropist type defenses, which I do think is very important. I think the overall good you do is more important than like the intricacies of being an ethical content creator or whatever. But once again, it transcends that because he's got giveaways and he's breaking laws, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So like very, very, very early on thoughts. I feel like with all the character references that I've gotten, it's about 50-50. And that I know people very personally who have spent a lot of time with him and they love him. And I know people and they think he's like a genius and like a visionary and he really does bring a lot of people up, et cetera, et cetera. And then I know people who are like, that guy is not a human being. That guy, like he gambles all day long. Like shit like that I've heard people say. Total hearsay. I don't know if that's true or not, but the people who have said it, I would believe them. Not enough to where I'm going to make an entire video about it, but it boils down once again to a 50-50 thing, which is I think why it's so important to talk.
Okay, when you hear this about people where you see two completely polarizing viewpoints, where some people think, oh, he's such a great guy, he's a visionary, really charismatic, really friendly, helpful, energetic. And then you see other people, this guy is a manipulative dickhead, he steps over people, he doesn't act like a fucking normal human being, he's addicted to drugs. Whenever you see that, that should be a massive, massive red flag that that person has an antisocial personality disorder, particularly narcissism or psychopathy. Because they're highly manipulative, and there's going to be a certain set of people that benefit from that relationship because they haven't fucked them over yet, or they haven't seen the entire side of their personality and they've hit it well. And then there's going to be the other people that interact with the that same person who have been fucked over by them, who have seen these, these times when their charade has fallen, and they show who they really are. So that's a good indication that Mr. Beast might actually have an antisocial personality disorder when you're seeing these massively conflicting viewpoints on the person from people who've personally known him.
Talk about all this stuff because I believe that your argument is in good faith. And I think talking about this point specifically for someone like me, that really reinforces my belief that what you're saying, the things that you're saying are truly in good faith, and that you're not a disgruntled employee. If you are rightfully so disgruntled employee.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch my video and like view it through the lens of, oh, this guy's.
Riley donated $2. What's your opinion on Big Band Theory? What character would you say you best identify with out of the series? If you ever, I think you meant Big Bang. Big Bang Theory is one of the shittiest sitcoms ever made, and it's made for dumbass boomers who don't know anything about science and nerd culture to laugh at something they don't really understand. It's not funny. It's stupid. Everyone acts like a fucking 12-year-old. I fucking hate it. Thanks for the donation, Riley.
It's just a disgruntled employee, but the evidence still speaks for itself.
Of course, yeah. It
That's
really
what I was
does.
trying to that video is like sort of remove myself from it and just show you as much evidence as possible.
Well, I'll tell you what, bud, sometimes that gets lost on even great geniuses like myself. So, fools. So we talked about alleged illegal lotteries and how they were conducted. Do you have any more instances of that other than the instances that were covered in the video? We mentioned the 5-hour live stream that was taken down.
Well, I drew the line at like 30 million subscribers because there's countless examples of me doing this back to 10,000 subscribers.
It's good to know that there's a clear line in the sand though. That's good.
There's also.
What are your thoughts on reality TV? 99% of the time, it's pure fucking trash. It's just garbage, trash TV.
Like, he did a shady live stream with Team C's where it's the same thing, like buy in the next couple minutes and you could win an iPhone, you could win a car. I think he gave away 4 cars during that live streams. I didn't talk about it because it's charity work, but even still, like, legally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's the same argument. It's something bad good because it's for something good? At what point do you have to, once again, just draw a line in the sand and be like, no, you need to be held responsible? If anybody should be held responsible, it should be that guy. It should be the number one guy. He shouldn't be able to slip through the cracks. What was your job title exactly while you worked for Mr. Beast Corporation Enterprises LLC?
Ideation.
Okay.
Strategist.
How complicit are the other actors in the Mr. Beast content? Like pre-Ava Tyson being shut down, how complicit do you believe, like Carl and Chandler, even though he reads Bible verses now? Like, how responsible do you hold them all?
Far less responsible. I mean, they have families, they have their livelihood on the line. The people who are responsible at Mr. Beast are literally nameless. Like, you guys don't know that they exist.
Okay, that's very reasonable. Okay.
Yeah, my top executives.
Okay. I just don't see someone like Chandler or even like Carl or even Ava or any of these people having anything to do with any of this. Like, they just don't seem like these giant geniuses. They're just like regular ass.
No, they're actually like trapped in the dark.
Interesting.
In terms of like productions and stuff, specifically. And the reason is because like someone like Chandler might actually leak it, even if it's accidentally.
Right. He might read a specific Bible verse, an old prophecy about the next Mr. Beast giveaway being fake. One of the interesting things to me that I felt like was really good YouTube content, but didn't necessarily sway my opinion on anything, be it whatever it may have been, ignorance, whatever you would want to call it, is the studies of children's psychology and the incorporation of those studies and the knowledge that they gain from that, like literal academic study of children's psychology and the application of that into the content and the strategies and the business model. Because to me, that is something that I find abhorrent. And I, saw the video, and I'm not going to just magically believe that, obviously, but it makes perfect sense, and the points you make are there. But I would have to see like an SOP from Beast Incorporated LLC, Satan.com, and it would have to say like something specific for me to just blatantly believe that type of thing. But we're talking about this, and hypothetically speaking, so I can give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm an ignoramus. How deep is that? What level of manipulation of children's psychology do these people use for profit? Like how far does that go, do you think, in your opinion?
I mean, it's endless. They'll go as deep as they can. Again, I don't specifically know that Jimmy's like super into that. I've heard him say on podcasts, hey, we do study psychology or whatever. But I think when he's saying we, it might be like, okay, this department at the company studies psychology.
So did you ever observe any examples of that in the ideation process?
Yeah, but if we got into specifics, so you have to cut it.
Okay, yeah. But okay, I got you. Trust me, bro. I trust you. I do believe you. Yeah, because that's where it starts to get really, really, really bizarre and strange. And the marketing is pretty much always bad. Do you have any examples of like kind of good positive strategies for marketing just in general? Like what because now you're so hyper aware of like this YouTube thing. What would you say is like an example of a brand or a content creator or someone who's doing well, just to like kind of shine some positive light?
Yeah, there's this guy on YouTube named Oompaville.
Oh my god. Fuck you, bro.
I'd say like Ryan Trahan probably as well.
I would agree.
Bo Burnham, when he was around, he was great. I think he was almost too moral, and that's why.
Oompaville's a dipshit. The amount of lies and fucking horse shit he said about that vegan teacher, The guy's just a fucking scumbag.
He had to leave.
Interesting. Yeah, that's the type of stuff I really appreciate it, by the way. You flattered me. You flattered me too much. I did not deserve that. That is something that I try to do whenever I make videos. I try to approach it like morally, right? And if I feel stupid or if I feel that I was wrong 100%, like I need to make it right at the expense of my...
Right, that's why you spread lies about that vegan teacher. Uh-huh. Mr. Yeast donated $2. I always knew Mr. Beast was lying, sack of shit, and even you called it. When people asked why he didn't make his products vegan, he couldn't respond, so instead he just provided a vegan option. Lol, Elon Musk is the same way. Fucking animal abuser, fuck them. Well, yeah. I think it's incredibly rare that you ever see anybody getting that level of fame and wealth doing it benevolently. The types of people to get that level of fame and that level of wealth are the types of people who are after power at the expense of other people and animals. So they're willing to step over people, lie, scam, cheat, do whatever they can to get to the top. Thanks for the donation, though, Mr. Yeast.
I don't really care about my feelings or whatever. I really like to try and find the good faith aspects of the things I'm talking about. It's so easy to talk about degeneracy. It's so easy to talk about Ava Tyson and all these freaks that I talk about and cover all the time. It's so simple. Stuff like this, it's difficult. It requires someone with a higher IQ. And I do, I can't say that I felt the same first watch, all things considered with your video on Mr. Beast, but having digested it as a critically thinking human being over the last couple of days, it appears to be 100% good faith as well. I can confidently say it does not seem like you want to necessarily gain anything from this. You're not a bad actor. You appear to just be honest and
yeah, I mean, we're all monkeys. We will lie if we have to. I mean,
of course.
I just try to be honest, I guess.
What do you think about the Rosanna Pansino thing and the whole Amazon games, all that stuff coming out now? Because there's just ever since Ava Tyson happened, there's been so many different little strings of what's going on. What are your feelings about all that?
When I first arrived at the company, there had recently been a Time magazine article published with a video and stuff. They came and interviewed him at the studio. I heard lots of stories about that interview and everything. And there's multiple employees in that Time magazine piece that were sort of whistleblowing against safety, OSHA violations and everything at the company, which then the reporter came to the studio. Apparently, Jimmy thought it was going to be maybe Time Person of the Year or whatever.
Yeah, fluff piece.
And then this reporter started asking questions about safety. And you can actually see in the video, Jimmy kind of has to awkwardly kick her out halfway through the interview. And then apparently it's because she was asking about safety and they'd already spoken to former employees. So I don't know. I hadn't witnessed anything personally because I was on pre-production, but I had heard through the grapevine lots of stories about poor safety practices. So it wasn't unexpected at all, to be honest, Beast Games. Especially because originally they wanted it to be 5,000 contestants. And they wanted it to be getting down to, so this is for episode 0, which would be on Mr. Beast's YouTube channel, 5,000 contestants down to 1,000. And my job to come up with ideas, what challenges can you do with 5,000 people and whatever the budget is that are safe and entertaining? There's not many. So they wanted to just have a giant dice, essentially, eliminate people. People that they said, hey, take 3 months off work, fly here, and then just get eliminated by a giant dice, which they didn't end up doing that, luckily. I thought they were when they went to Vegas, but well, maybe they should have done that because what ended up happening was a bloodbath.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And I have people in my DM saying that they had got into Beast Games, they got the email that they were accepted and everything, and then they were ghosted the last second. So I'm thinking that the decision to go from 5,000 to 2,000 might have happened last second. And there's production people and contestants, 3,000 of them essentially, who just got ghosted.
Interesting. Huh. And that was all originally predicated once again on the, this is a huge opportunity of a lifetime, be a part of the Mr. Beast Games, and then they're just ghosting people instead of, interesting.
Yeah. Huh. And then if you get there, then you don't get your medication. Production lost some people's medication, and those people got eliminated because production lost their medication.
Nice.
Yeah. And then they say, hey, sign this piece of paper, and by signing that piece of paper, you can't take part in a class action lawsuit, but we'll send you $1,000 in 4 months.
Logan Paul style.
If you dig into the testimonies from people, and they're all unverified because there's no video footage of these things happening that's been released yet, but it's a lot of people corroborating the same stories. It's just crazy. Which that was a Mr. Beast production, not an Amazon production, because it was for episode 0, the promotional video on his YouTube channel.
Now, do you think that Mr. Beast pays YouTubers to apologize for him? Do you think that their team goes out of their way to silence people or hush people? Is it a big cabal?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the instance. I think most likely Keemstar is probably bought. And I think there's a lot of other YouTubers who are
that's awesome.
Ludwig or whatever. I'm not calling anybody out. There's like every single YouTuber who's probably in that 50 YouTuber video. There's some rapport. There's some. Jimmy's well aware of the law of reciprocity that if you give to someone, they're more likely to give to you. So I understand why big commentary YouTubers didn't pick this up earlier, or why some still won't. And yeah, that's fine.
Well, I would like to think of myself as not someone who is bought and paid for by anyone. So, and people saying that is just so funny to me. I have all of my Twitter DMs are literally, how much did he pay you? And it's so funny because I really wish he would pay me. I do actually at this point, but no. How much did I pay you to be nice to me for this video?
Just give me some candy, sour patch kids.
jokes aside, don't bring me up. Like, I know you're a funny guy. You're a clever dude. If there was a product, let's say Mr. Beast has his candy product and he's promoting it and he's just a YouTuber. What do you think the way Mr. Beast should go about Feastables from this point on? Like, do you think it's savable at this point? Because I feel like your criticism of like the whole health thing, it's bad from the very beginning, right? Like he started off on the wrong foot, and now it's just going to be worse and worse and worse. Unless he can pull a Logan Paul, which he definitely will be able to do. Let's be real, he's gonna be able to pull Logan Paul. Like he can be the bad guy now. Mr. Beast, after your video, Mr. Beast, in my opinion, will be the next Logan Paul. The general consensus on YouTube for the 30, 40 million people that exist in this commentary sphere, the internet culture sphere, probably from now on will just hate Mr. Beast, and he's going to be the new Logan Paul. Do you think that there's a way that he could have gone about the Feastables thing in the beginning that would have been better? Because in my opinion, that's like the first. And like that's what began all this stuff, is him being more than just Mr. Beast. He's got this huge thing now.
I mean, Feastables is just a snack brand. It's not specifically the chocolate. He's done protein bars in the past, and that might better align with his brand now. And, like, I think he's trying to grow up his audience, and he lost a bunch of weight and working out and everything. So I think it is recoverable, but maybe on the chocolate side, it's a bit iffy. I mean, did he really ever have success with selling a chocolate product, or did he have success with, marketing, right? Like, I think he was just more successful on the marketing front, because he just did the same thing that he was doing with the live streams, but instead of t-shirts, he like switched it out for Feastables. And then he like made it, because it was like an outside company and everything, it was like a little bit more legal. But then like you see the shit like no perch neck. And it's like, holy shit, like, do you have to hide it that bad? Does everything need to be like so optimized for deception? I just don't get it.
That's a really good point, is like everything is hyper optimized to deceive people. And that's pretty much what marketing is though. Like when you really, if you're like a traditionally trained marketer, you learn how to use words to convince people that you're not trying to convince them of stuff. Like it's so nonsensical, and it's really bad in food, it's really bad in gaming, and it's so bad in YouTube. I mean, like that's what YouTubers pretty much just do. That's what it's really all about. I mean, it's just like getting people to kind of believe something and not look else. It's really weird. I don't know. I don't like being a YouTuber. I hate it. But also I'm very grateful, obviously, because like, success is pretty cool. But I would rather just be an ape swinging from trees, I think, or reading Bible verses on TikTok like Chandler.
What YouTube is financially incentivized to do is they've essentially commoditized attention, and it's like mostly children's attention. And people think of attention as like this passive thing. Like it's just passive observation. It's which direction your head is facing at any given moment. That's where your attention is. But especially for children, it's like more involved in their development. So I think what YouTube is financially incentivized to do is, one, get as much attention as possible, but two, what people don't understand is convert that, transform that intention so that's more valuable to advertisers. It's like you're cultivating a crop. It's like, oh, this potato is better because it's more consumeristic. But what Mr. Beast is doing is effectively teaching his audience to be more consumeristic by like constantly reinforcing the idea that happiness comes from spending money and buying products. So it's like those creepy thumbnails where it's the kid smiling at the credit card, and then he'll like show somebody spending $1 million in 24 hours, and then he'll cut it in the middle of it to do an advertisement for current.
Yep, that's the human condition. It's so weird. A lot of people just don't realize you don't need things to be happy. This whole consumerism thing is a failed experiment.
Which is like a credit card service. Yeah.
This guy is a genius. Holy shit. I would have never thought of that.
What you said earlier, it's just like, don't hate the player, hate the game. If you're trying to be the best YouTuber possible, he's exactly what YouTube wants. He's somebody that makes attention more valuable to advertisers. But then when you remove, what you talk about, which is like the integrity and the morals from that equation, like over the future, what will happen is AI content will just continue to eat all the market share away from human creators. And then obviously AI doesn't have morals, so it's like that's a very scary dystopian future.
That's what it feels like. That's what Mr. Beast content for me has felt like for years. AI content, like for children. Like there's no way you watch a Mr. Beast video and it's just like, how do we watch this? Like, what is this shit? It just doesn't feel like a real thing. I remember the last video that I watched was the one where you talked about the valves that are. It's obviously like not legit in that video. I don't remember what it's called. It's like 100 levels or whatever. The dude had to go down and hit it by the end of the time limit. I watched that whole video in like 3 seconds. It felt like 3 seconds. And by the end of it, I felt like I was like a psychic vampire had just stolen my life essence against my will. I literally felt gypped. And generally with my phone and stuff, I'm very aware of like what apps and algorithms are trying to pull my attention in. And like I can tell, TikTok, it's like showing me shit specifically. It's so obvious. It's a moot point. Everybody knows about it. It's a cliche at this point. But with content creators, I don't feel that way. Whenever I watch like say Critical, for example, or like Tom or Muda or anybody really in the commentary space, or just anybody afar outside maybe Sunny V2, it doesn't.
Dude, Muda is such a weird example because he makes like pretty clickbaity content. He'll make fucking videos with a kind of shocking, interesting title. He'll act like super hyper. Just, there's this long, drawn-out process of him working his way to the actual point of the video, and then it turns out being a fucking nothing burger.
Doesn't feel like this thing is pulling my attention in against my will and like it's just some kind of like dopamine algorithm thing. It feels like content that I'm watching from a human being that I'm getting value from. Whereas with Mr. Beast
Would I go on Survivor? No, I don't think so. I'd have to kill animals, right?
Content. It's this just polished, amorphous slop stuff. Like, it's very weird. It's very, very, very strange. It's a bizarre feeling. And like you're saying, the market share will be AI. Right now, the market share is already Mr. Beastified channels. And like at a certain point, those two things will just become the same. The Mr. Beast stuff. And it's just, I don't know, it leaves a weird taste in my mouth. And you mentioned the taking people's attention. I think about that a lot in like just my life generally, trying to spend time doing things that make me feel better, you know, give meaning to my life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, whatever. It's like your life force. And when you look at stuff like that, you're taking people's attention and you kind of see it as something more than just, you know, where your head's pointing, like what you said. It becomes, the gravity of the situation becomes a lot heavier. It becomes like I might be evil. Just by being on YouTube and being successful on YouTube, I might be evil, but there's levels to it. So it's like you have to come to terms with all this stuff. And I think, honestly, I think your video is probably one of the best examples of this like innate feeling that I felt for a very long time, but couldn't put words to and ignored and experienced cognitive dissonance. I think that's why you have the 95.5 dislike to like ratio, is because your video is that thing that people are thinking collectively, but don't really know how to say it because, you know, what exactly is representing it? We don't really know. But at this point, Mr. Beast is what represents that. And it's like it's a really interesting, I don't know, it's cringe to use the word conflagration, but that's pretty much what it feels like. It feels like this insane, just out of nowhere realization across the board by a lot of people that you sparked in a really unique way while on mushrooms, by the way, I'll add, with your erratic behavior.
Dude, people thought the intro to that video was serious, where like my eyes are bulging. Like, dude, I literally just ran around my room, like hyperventilating, like flashed a light in my eye, and like I'm under the bed in that clip. Do you think I'm not aware that I'm under the bed, like pretending to look like a schizophrenic who's like hiding on the run from Mr. Beast? Like, of course.
Yeah.
And then they actually use that to like discredit me and say that I'm whatever. And I'm sure the character assassination is probably, that's probably the route that they have to go, because it's just so, or you have to apologize.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In my opinion, he's got to apologize. And I guess we'll leave this off by like, what do you think? What do you think, Mr. Beast? What do you think he's going to do? And what do you think he has to do? In your own opinion, say right and wrong is concrete.
I don't know. The shit's so complicated.
It is insanely complicated.
It's like Google is just the problem, you know?
Yeah.
Or YouTube is the problem.
Yeah.
But how do you fix that? How do you rectify that situation? Like, you're not even allowed to criticize them on the platform because they control the medium of communication.
100%. I mean, my Mr. Beast video, where I was literally a Mr. Beast apologist, the most recent video, it was demonetized 15 times and age restricted 10 times. And UVR, like, we have 20 copies of the video on my channel. And like UVR, people watch the video at YouTube. Every time we send it in, turned yellow. They give us stuff, we cut it out, gets manually viewed, yellow. Like, I don't know if there is an answer to that the problem on the platform of YouTube, but there's also no other real, maybe just we go outside more. We just touch grass. What do you think?
Yeah, but the content becomes too addictive and then it's impossible to go outside anymore.
Because we were just simply monkeys. So it's like, you can't, it's too complicated. It's too fucking complicated.
Yeah, it's like, the way I sort of think about it is there's like these evolutionary loopholes. And like, I would put them in two categories. One is chemical, which is shit like, you know, cocaine or heroin or opium or whatever. It's like, you literally have receptors in your brain. Like the serotonin receptors is sort of the famous one. And psilocybin or psilocin, the active ingredient in magic mushrooms. The reason it interacts with your serotonin receptor is literally just because it looks similar to the chemical. So, but like, those are very easy to regulate because then you just say, oh, is this molecule this? And then you just criminalize it. If somebody has that molecule, you get rid of it. When it's something like conditional, where it's like you trigger this, and now your actual receptor will trigger through real dopamine instead of synthetic dopamine, but it's still that highly addictive process, if that makes sense.
It does make perfect sense.
So it's like, how do you regulate that? It just seems inevitable.
It is, yeah. I think that's what people interesting.
Yeah, but then it's like, then you listen to like a Bo Burnham song and you cry.
Yeah, I'm interested to see his follow-up. But yeah, Mr. Beast is a fucking jackass. I knew it all along, so, but like how it's finally getting exposed.
You got to be more powerful than anything that can happen.
I think that Ravi is going to be the great black hope.
If you let anything crack, just shoot off.
Dude, Robbie Robinson still looks fucking amazing, and he's like almost 80 or something. '78. This was him at 76 years old.
Today, we dive into the incredible life of Robbie Robinson.
Bro, it's just nuts. I remember watching or playing Metal Gear Solid 4. There's that final scene where Solid Snake fights Liquid Ocelot. And this character in the game is 70 years old. And he, like, you know, throws off his jacket and everything. And then you see him fucking jacked. I think this came out back in, like, 07. And I was thinking, like, I'm sure in the future with nanomachines and technology and shit, we will have, 70-year-old men who can look like this and have this kind of strength and speed and everything. Like, we're almost there already. Like, we pretty much are. Steroids are pretty fucking insane. If you can leverage, like, all the benefits and minimize the downsides, I mean, why the fuck wouldn't you, use some form of chemical enhancement if you can be, like, this strong, this fit, at the age of fucking 76, and he's 78 right now. He looks basically the same. Like, this guy's almost fucking 80 years old. Like, it's just mind-blowing. There are people who are his age who are in fucking wheelchairs, walking with a cane, barely walk, frail, like they're about to die. And then you have people like this, where just from training, good nutrition, and a little bit of steroids, they can maintain that kind of level of physical fitness to 80. It's just nuts.
We're gonna get to your arrival in LA, but before you got to LA, you actually went to see the first Mr. Olympia for you, which was the 1970 Mr. Olympia. You went to see it live in New York, right? Mm-hmm. You went to see Sergio against Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about this. Like, Arnold pulled a little stunt on Sergio. What happened there?
I was in Tallahassee and I had wanted to see something like that. I had never been to a bodybuilding competition.
Yeah.
So I took my daughter, my oldest daughter, on a Greyhound bus all the way to New York. We got up in the middle of New York, never left Florida in my life.
Yes.
I get to New York, I have a hotel there for myself and her. And in the process of all of that, we go to the bodybuilding competition. And at the bodybuilding competition, there was nobody in the show. There were only the judges.
Wow.
Myself, my daughter.
Wow.
There was nobody there. And Arnold and Sergio leaving, some other bodybuilders came out on stage.
And that was it. That was Mr. Olympia.
That was it. There was no such thing as cameras. There was none of that.
Wow.
There was no stage light. It was just a stage lit up.
Yeah.
And the bodies walked out on stage and they posed.
Wow.
And in the process, I'm sitting there watching this, amazed at what I'm seeing. Sergio Olivia looked like something from another galaxy, and Arnold up there posing. And I'm thinking to myself, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing these guys actually do
Thoughts on Jamie Logan? Would you do a video with her? I don't know who that is.
it here on stage. And then in the process of them posing and going through the mandatories, the judge told him to leave the stage. And in the process of them leaving the stage, Sergio, I want to let him go first, and he walked off the stage.
Yeah.
And then the judge said, you guys come back on the stage, but Sergio didn't hear him. So he just kept walking. So Arnold was always stayed out on the stage and just kept posing and posing and posing and posing. And then they gave Arnold the Mr. Olympia Championship.
I saw footage when Sergio stepped down. Arnold was like, where are you going? You quitting? Almost like you
That's
just
right.
quit?
Exactly.
He
That's
made
what
a
it is.
scene out of it.
Yeah, he made a scene out of it. And that's how he won his first Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You both have a thing for fashion, both you and Sergio. I mean, you can see very fashionable, very fashionable.
Very fashionable.
But you also, both of you have amazing physiques.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
And you've competed together. You've competed in, was it in WABA?
In WABA, yeah.
So before the Olympia 1970, I don't know if you know, but I did my research. Arnold beat Sergio 2 weeks prior. Here's what happened. Here's my research. This book is by Randy Roach. It's called Muscle, Smoke, and Mirrors, Volume 2. And I just want to share what happened over here. Arnold was in London to win his 5th Mr. Universe title. Immediately following the show, Arnold, Franco, Dave Draper, and Borikov. So they flew first to New York, and then they were jetted privately to Columbus, Ohio to compete in another contest, and that another contest, it was the Pro World. Sergio was reluctant to compete in the Pro World. And then also Oliva's manager tells what happened. Oliva's manager at the time, Jack Mergimekian, recounted how Sergio Oliva went to Columbus to watch the show, not to compete. And when he spied him in the audience, Jim Lorimer negotiated successfully to get Oliva to compete in the bodybuilding show against Arnold. The manager of Oliva stated that Sergio had no intention of competing. He was focused on Mr. Olympia contest only 2 weeks away, where he planned his 4th straight victory. He had defeated Arnold a year before. And it says, although Oliva may not have prepared physically or psychologically to compete against Arnold, who was in top form, he allowed himself to be lured into the show and lost.
Yeah.
And after all, it's unlikely that Arnold was privately jetted into Columbus in order to lose to a black Cuban in front of a televised audience of millions.
From Austria, welcome to our stage, please, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Pumping Iron was such a dope movie.
A few days ago in London, he won the Mr. Universe competition. Here he is trying to put back-to-back 2 great physique titles. This one for Mr. World. He's the challenger to Sergio Oliva.
Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And the winner, the challenger coming into this competition. What a big day for this youngster from Austria, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Dude, his traps were crazy.
Basically what happened was...
I'm going to really do a lot of work for my traps on this hypertrophy phase I'm on. I'm hoping I can like really get some crazy traps. I already have really good trap development, but I want like really fucking huge, massive traps.
Jim Lorimer, the promoter of Pro World, flew him overnight.
Yeah.
It was a setup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Arnold comes in shape. Sergio is not peaking yet, but somehow he got him to compete, and Arnold beats him. And this is 2 weeks before Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
So now Arnold has momentum. And there was another thing that happened over dinner. Arnold tells him, if you were heavier 10 pounds, you would have beat me. So now Oliva puts 15 pounds, so he goes a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
And then Arnold puts the final nail in the coffin when he goes, what happened actually was like, I think we're done. We're both tired. And Sergio said, yeah, I think we're done. So he walks off the stage. And as soon as he walks off, Arnold goes, where are you going? It's like, everybody sees it, he's quitting. And he keeps posing.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That was it.
That was it. And that's how
he got basically his setup of actually, going into the Miss Olympia.
That's pretty funny.
Winning the 6 Miss Olympia title.
Yeah. And also,
it's all staged, a lot of it.
He, at this show, the Pro World, he told Jim Lorimer after he retires, he wants to be a business partner with him.
Exactly.
Because the whole thing was arranged.
That's what it is.
And that's how they started Arnold Classic.
Arnold Classic, exactly.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how these things happen. It's like, but you gotta research, you gotta see what happened.
Yeah.
So before, you're one of the guys that went against Arnold, and it just, there is a list of bodybuilders. Whoever went against Arnold, somehow they got canceled.
They got what?
They got canceled from the industry. And before Robbie, it was Sergio. This was the first one that 1970. So 1971, he competed in a different organization, NABA. And then the leaders go, hey, everybody competed. They are disqualified. They're suspended. And they told Arnold, hey, don't compete, so we can suspend all of these guys. So then Arnold in 1971 is the only one on stage and goes on to win 1971.
Yep, exactly.
So that's 2 times. So then 1972, at this Olympia, Arnold said that if he was a judge, he would have given the victory to Sergio Oliva. That's how good he was at this show.
He was good at that time. Yeah.
He was great.
He was on.
Now, what happened was Arnold picked the room where to do the prejudging. And it was apparently a darker wall, and it made him stand out because he was more pale.
Yeah.
And Sergio, that was in better shape, got washed out. He kind of blended
with
exactly. He blended with the wall.
Yep.
And I got to pull another another quote over here. Because this book, the author...
It's funny how much weird cheating Arnold did.
He interviewed a lot of bodybuilders from the golden era, and also he spoke to Charles Gaines and George Butler over the phone.
Really?
So he's got a lot of scoop.
Lots of smoke and mirror.
Yes, and he's got a lot of scoop about anything that happened in pumping iron.
Amazing.
So it's all here, brother.
Amazing.
So this is what Arnold said. Certainly, Sergio was great enough in Germany to take the Mr. Olympia title. And I will go further and admit that if I had been judged in Germany, I would have voted in favor of Oliva over me. So that's in a book called Fantastic. And then Rick Wayne wrote a book called Muscle Wars. He says that Arnold said, I was far more interested in the paint of the wall. It hadn't occurred to Sergio that my white body would stand out against the dark wall behind us, while his would blend right in. There's another setup, and there goes another title of Mr. Olympia to Arnold.
It was all setups, basically.
So I'm just going chronologically here. We're going to get to 1975, pumping iron. 1973, here's what happens. There is a contest in Tijuana, and the contest was Mr. International. Arnold was supposed to compete. He flies in with Joe Weider. Sergio tries to pull out the same trick that Arnold pulled on him in 1970. He tried to show up and compete against him. When Sergio shows up, Weider goes, wait, I need 3 of my judges, and I'm going to be a judge, and we're going to do the show this way. The promoter of the show, Eddie Silvestri, goes, you cannot do that. And then Joe Weider goes, well, in that case, Arnold, you're not competing. And they made this whole spectacle about Sergio, hey, come on, let's compete. And Joe's like, no, we have a competition Olympia in 4 weeks, so we're going to save it. So he didn't return the favor of what happened for the 70. And after that, Weider banned the promoter, Silvestri, and gave the promotion of that contest, Mr. International, to Arnold. So now Arnold became the promoter.
Yep.
Sergio Oliva gets banned.
Amazing, isn't it?
He gets banned, so he cannot compete. And after he's being banned, Joe Weider writes an article about Sergio, that Sergio is a chicken without a head. He calls him a chicken.
A chicken, yeah, I remember that.
He cannot, and here's the article. It's in 1974 Muscle Builder.
I didn't realize there was this much cheating in politics.
And it says, Sergio Oliva, A Chicken Without a Head by Joe Weider. Yeah. But that's page 1. On page 2, he goes full-blown commando. He's using the words whore and hooker.
Yeah.
Here's what he says. Unfortunately for Oliva, when his head eroded, so did his memory. This was the famous night that Dan Lurie clambered on stage and stormed at Sergio to retract his statements. Lurie had paid Sergio, a whore even then, to endorse his products. So this is back then when there was this situation between Dan Lurie and Sergio Oliva having some type of a contract.
Yeah.
Joe Weider is alluding to this moment and using the W-H-O-R-E word. And then he goes, Dan Lurie became enraged. Sergio had given him old Hooker's double cross. But now that Sergio cannot beat Arnold, he's once again a crony of Lurie's and saying anything old Danny Boy wants. Meaning,
Riley Donatella's VG, as I just started a YouTube channel, would you mind helping me understand the hypocrisy, though, arguments? Electronics, sweatshops, etc. On Insta, as I want to be fully prepared for the meat flakes. So for one thing, it's a tu quo qui fallacy. Just because you can find some wrongdoing that somebody does, that doesn't mean they're wrong about something else. So if you say, you know, it's wrong to murder people, but, I don't know, they beat somebody up, that has nothing to do with murder being wrong. Secondly, the vegan position is a position that grants animals the same rights as human beings. So, if your, like, argument is, oh, well, you're vegan, but you buy electronics that are, I don't know, made in Foxconn where people are being mistreated. I don't know how that's necessarily a rights violation. There's going to be human exploitation in any kind of labor, but I don't know how by not buying those products, you're supporting human rights. Like, again, if somebody is being driven to work like, I don't know, 80-hour work weeks at Foxconn to make iPhones, not buying an iPhone is not necessarily going to prevent any sort of rights violation from occurring. In order to grant a human being like a certain right, that's something that has to be, you know, passed through like Congress or whatever government in the country they're in has to pass some sort of workers' rights. Boycotting certain products because you think they're exploiting human labor, it's not going to change labor practices. They're just going to go to some other form of work that's also going to be exploitative. And third, like, I don't know in what meaningful way boycotting certain products are going to actually improve any kind of human condition. So if somebody's working in a sweatshop making garments, I don't know why boycotting that would it improve their working circumstances, because again, you would logically think they're working there because that's the best form of work that they can obtain. So why would somebody choose a job that is unideal for them? Why would you want to work longer hours for less pay? So presumably, if somebody's working in a sweatshop, that's the best job that they have available to them. If you were to boycott the product they're making, again, presumably they would have to get a shittier job that either has longer working hours, less pay, is more dangerous, so forth. So that's the basic argument against that crap. Thanks for the donation, though, Riley.
So just back to Danny, since he's not with Joe either anymore.
I remember that, yeah.
And it says bodybuilding's darkest hour.
Yeah.
Because Sergio does not show up. Well, how are you going to show up if you're being banned? So he's creating all these stories, and nobody can say anything.
If you run the organization, you're able to do that.
You're running all the media. There's nothing you can do. So there goes 73. 74, he cannot compete because he's gone for 10 years until 1984 Olympia when you guys went head to head. And there's the first one that got canceled.
Then I got this letter from Weeder Publication. So I'm coming here to train with the Weeder boys. And I showed him the letter, and everybody started laughing. Another sucker. He was sitting across in front of me, and he looked at me, and he says, I don't give blacks contracts.
The fuck? So is Weeder racist? That's weird because I remember he did a video with Lee Haney. Joe Weeder, Lee Haney. Let me see if I can find it.
Welcome to the totally awesome world of Lee Haney. Bodybuilding is a reconstruction of cells and tissue. Bodybuilding is exercise and nutrition at its best, which does not mean the use of anabolic steroids or any such chemicals. For me, Joe Weider's Dynamic Muscle Builder, Life Essence, and Metabolic Pack is number one.
Oh boy. That is some shady shit. And I'm pretty sure that's technically illegal to do that.
Well, I would mix push-pull.
Yeah, I remember seeing, like, we know Lee Haney had a contract with Joe Weider. I guess this is in the 1970s. By the time Lee Haney was competing, that was like 80s, right? So maybe Joe Weider became a little more progressive later on.
So let's jump right into it. 1975, you come to Los Angeles. You get invited by Joe Weider to train at the Mecca, do some photo shoots, compete, correct?
Exactly.
How did that happen? Like, what was your first impression of Los Angeles?
Thanks for the gifted membership, Tyler. Appreciate that.
You land in LA. What are you thinking?
You know, I grew up in the swamps of Florida, so I didn't really have any idea that someone of that notoriety and that famous and known all over the world himself, that was a magazine publisher, would even reply to the letter. So I sent him some pictures of myself, double bicep from the rear, double bicep from the front, side chest shot. And Richard Baldwin was the one that took the photographs of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I put them all together, sent him this little package. I mean, not expecting to hear anything from him. Then I got this letter from Weider Publication. His name was on there. Joe Weider had signed it. I was ecstatic. He invited me to come out to Los Angeles, California in 1975 to train with the Weider boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow. I had an incredible job working at the Tallahassee Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like...
That was a magazine, right? You worked for? It was a magazine?
No, it was a newspaper.
A newspaper,
It was a
yes.
newspaper. And
Yes.
I worked for this newspaper for like almost 7-8 years. And then all of a sudden, one thing the newspaper did was publish all my wins. They would write little articles. Robbie Robinson won Mr. Southeast. You know, Robbie Robinson placed 5th in the Mr. America. And so I was getting known pretty much all over Florida. And then I got the letter from Joe Weider, invited me to come to train with the Weider boys. As I say, I was ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
My whole world changed. I left immediately to Los Angeles, California, 2 paychecks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think $7 in my pocket and 2 paychecks.
I love it.
And I got to California, found a way to get to Gold's Gym, got to Gold's Gym. I walked in. The first person I encountered was Eddie Giuliani. And Eddie Giuliani goes, I said, I'm coming here to train with the Weider boys. And I showed him the letter, and everybody started laughing. Another sucker.
Uh-oh.
That's what they say. Oh, you've been suckered too.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, okay, Duncan, what is this? What is he talking about? And he said,
I feel like you have the highest percentage of non-vegan / on the fence followers out of all vegan influencers. Despite your cutthroat outlook on the issue. I myself go back and forth and I've been following you since like 2014 or 15 I think. Because my up.
You're up? Upub? Well, I think I have a diverse range of interests, and I also share a lot of personal life stuff and political views. I think that's part of it. And I think also, like, just because I do fitness, a lot of people are going to kind of watch my stuff, you know, for that reason too. So even if they're not vegan, they're kind of also interested in, like, some of the fitness stuff I do. So that may be part of it. And I know a lot of people also just like my honesty and crap and think I'm funny and entertaining. So that might be part of it. What the fuck do you mean you go back and forth? Are you saying like you're an ex-vegan or some shit? Do you want me to come after you, you son of a bitch? Thanks for the donation though, asshole realist.
This guy does that to all the guys that have great physiques. And at this point, you know, I had a one-way ticket and my 2 paychecks and the $7. So I'm thinking, oh man, have I gotten myself into trouble? Because see, in my culture, you can't go back home and say anybody's done anything, especially if you're going to bring up, well, the white person wouldn't let me do this. They would say, hey, you should have thought about that before you left.
Totally.
So I couldn't go back home. So I'm standing there and I'm thinking, oh God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Didn't have a place to stay, no apartment. And I was just kind of stayed around the gym. Ken Sprague's kind of let me sleep in the gym. And I was, from that point on, totally brain dead. Then I met a guy from Florida. His name was Mike Armstrong. He was a school teacher. In that process, Mike let me stay at his place to help get me grounded, so I feel a little bit more comfortable with myself. He lived right off the beach, probably walk out of his door right to go to the gym. So I had that little gift from the man upstairs. And Mike. If it wasn't been for Mike, I probably would have been on the streets.
Wow.
So I'm standing there and I'm thinking, Mike ate steak, Robbie ate steak. Mike went out to eat, Robbie went out to eat. If Mike went out someplace to do anything, Mike will always take me with me. He was a school teacher, good guy.
Yeah.
White, from Florida. And he recognized the fact that he said, you know, you've been set up, man. It's just, you know, there's nothing you can do about it. You're not in a good place. You can just use my place. And I mean, that was a gift, because I could relax. At least I had a stomping ground, a sleeping place to sleep.
Of course.
Had my own little bed to sleep right there by the door. And, you know, Mike stepped in the other bedroom.
Bums of America, donate $2. Enjoy these videos, man.
What up, guys? So in today's video, we have this couple that uses a very old but successful method. As you're about to see, they're going to walk up to the aisle, and what they're going to do is they're going to fool you. But I couldn't let that slide. I'm used to it. What he does is he grabs 2, but makes you think that he's grabbing 1. You see him putting it in his pocket, and then boom, he walks up to the other shelf, and then he puts it there as in he returns it. And the trick is they grab 2 and make you think that they grabbed 1, and then they put it back, and now you think that they're all returned. But that's not going to work out with me. I'm not going to lie, I don't really care, but I'd really appreciate it if you take whatever you put inside your pocket out.
Fuck, what is you talking about, bro?
Come on, bro, don't do that, bro.
Hey, bro, we ain't even got shit up in our pocket, Big bro. Dog, I told you about your coworker. I ain't gonna steal from y'all, bro.
What about my coworker?
They be doing that crazy shit, talking to us crazy, bro. Hell yeah.
Probably because you stole or something.
I don't steal, big dog. I'm sorry. I don't steal. What, you trying to call me a racist now?
How I call you? I never called you a racist.
I'm saying you accusing me and my wife of stealing.
I'm saying I seen you stealing. I'm not accusing you. I'm telling you.
Yep, play the race card.
You did actually steal. I seen you on the camera.
I ain't steal shit. What are you talking about? I want this in the swisher, bro.
Okay, when you take it out of your pocket, I'll give you the swishers, bro.
I don't know what you talking about, but I'm finna pay for this in the swisher.
And what you put inside your pocket.
I don't got nothing in my pocket, bro. What is you talking about?
Bro, I seen you with my own 2 eyes, bro.
Big dog, what is you talking about? I don't know what you talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
No, the fuck I don't. Come on, bro. Can I pay for this?
Me and you both know what's going on, bro.
I pay for this and get the fuck on.
After you pay for what's in your pocket, bro. I'm not slow, bro. I'm not slow. I seen you, bro. You could be a man. Hey, look. You could be a grown man. You said you married, right?
Yes, I am.
You could be a grown man and tell me, hey, look, I need so-and-so, but you're not about to come over here and steal.
Bro, I didn't take shit. Can I pay for
after you take what you take out of your pocket, bro.
I ain't got shit, bro.
I'm not talking about you. I seen him.
Watch out, bro, because he play out for the this store up. Come on, man, for real, bro.
Bro, take what you put inside your pocket out.
I ain't got shit, man. Come on, man.
Bro, why you making it harder than what it is, bro?
I ain't making shit hard, bro.
You making it harder than what it is, bro.
Come on, bro. No, I don't got nothing. Just this and this swisher, bro.
Bro, let me see your pocket then.
Nah, I ain't finna let you see my fucking pocket, bro.
Let me see your pocket.
No.
Why not?
That's what's in my pocket. What the you mean?
Because what you put inside your pocket is stolen.
Man, hell nah, bro. Can I get, I'm finna pay you for the swisher in this pop.
Let me see what you put in your pocket.
All right, man.
That's all you had to do, bro. Was that hard?
Nah, all right, come on, man.
Was that hard, bro? Damn. 624, bro.
Dude, that's funny he gave up.
The other worker that you called the ass, they was probably gonna call the police. You $1.50 short, but I got you. Huh?
Them niggas is an asshole. Thank you, man.
What a fucking idiot.
She got a gun, yo. Yo, chill, son.
Yo!
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, that's what you get.
Timber! When I need a break from chopping down those 4,000-year-old redwoods, I turn to lumberjack cigarettes. Ah, the pure taste of burning leaves. When you want to feel that tar going deep into your lungs, try lumberjack cigarettes.
Lumberjacks are swell and they make your clothes smell. Above and beneath, they leave stains on your teeth. Pick the leaves of dead tobacco, chop 'em up for lumberjacko, rolled up tight and lit on fire. Suck 'em down till you expire, so when you get yens for those carcinogens, the lumberjacks you bought taste like...
Is this from Animaniacs or something? We all know the FCC banned cigarettes. Yeah, it's Warner Bros. This is either from Animaniacs or what's it called? Freakazoid.
Meat is the healthiest and most improperly villainized food out there. Ruminant meat is the only food that people can actually survive on as a single food without supplementing anything else.
That is not true. Most people become vitamin C deficient and die.
Which is the perfect elemental diet for a sick person.
Well, this is obviously nonsense. You can live healthy and absolutely thrive without any supplementation on a plant-based diet. This is just...
That's not true. You need B12.
Obviously ignorance being displayed here.
Meat is the...
Michaela Peterson's a fucking idiot. I love how TED Talk
An
took down their
investigation is
video.
underway after a man was mauled to death by a pack of dogs in Compton.
The victim's body was found in a backyard kennel area surrounded by animals. KTLA 5's Kimberly...
Take a look at video from Sky.
Yeah, I remember that. This guy was breeding pit bulls, and they mauled him to death. Fucking dumbass. Thanks for the donation, Bums of America.
Sorry, ran out of space. I meant upbringing. I have a Midwestern upbringing. Small town bumfuck American shit. I would not challenge you physically, you are a big boy. Don't want the smoke.
Alright, well, thanks for the donation, asshole realist. You should still go vegan, that's not an excuse.
Thanks so much. I take your view on extending rights. After doing some live streams I heard so much crap. I'm gonna do some debates. Care to react afterwards and help me? I think they are probably gonna be bad, but it'll get better. Sorry in advance.
Yeah, no problem. If you have some debates, we can react later. Thanks for the donation, Riley.
And then, for some unknown reason, Joe Weider asked me to come out to the office.
Yes.
So they let me go out to the office. I got to ride out to the Weider's office. I go into the office. I sit there. 1 hour go by, 2 hours. I sit there for like almost 3.5 hours waiting to see him.
Uh-huh.
And then finally I got a chance to see him. I went up to his office, invited him to his office.
Is this the first time you guys met?
Yeah.
Got
it. The first time we had met. I sit there in his office in his big chair, and he was sitting across in front of me, and he looked at me and he says, I don't give blacks contracts. I think I could have, on a psychologically, just stopped inside of my head. And I'm saying, well, but you gave me this letter. Just kind of shrugged it off, got up and walked out the room and left me there. Annalise Light was his secretary. And
well, Joe Weider was a racist confirmed. Didn't know he was that much of a piece of shit.
She said,
I guess that's why he had such a problem with Sergio Oliva. He just didn't like black people.
Mr. Robinson, I mean, you have to wait downstairs after that little short meeting.
Uh-huh.
And so I went down the stairs and waited for another 3.5 hours till it was closing. And then she came to the stairwell and said, Mr. Weider just left. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay. And then Denny Gable.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did that just to fuck with him.
Was the guy that had drove me out to the Weider office. That's how we became friends.
Got it, yes.
And he came and he said, let's go. We left and went on the way home. And he said, I'm sorry about that, Robbie. He said, but, that happened to a lot of guys.
Yeah.
He said, That's just something you have to like deal with,
So it was like
I was able to suck it up,
yeah,
and deal with it. I got a call from Gene Mosé, who was the Weeder photographer at this point.
Dude, it's so crazy how over the span of like 50 years, things have changed so much where you can like just be openly racist and be like, yeah, we don't give black people contracts. And like now you just get sued to oblivion, get canceled. Your whole business will be fucking ruined.
He said, Joe, we don't want to get do a cover shot of you. That changed my life.
Wow.
Right there. All of a sudden I'm on the cover, flexing this incredible physique for them in a sense. And from that point on, I started getting exhibitions and seminars all over the world.
So it was like rude awakening. You come to LA, big dreams, one-way ticket, and all the dreams are about to come true. You're at the Mecca, you're in LA, but then you meet Joe, and then it was like almost like a peak, then a valley.
Exactly.
It was a letdown. Oh man, what did I get myself into? And then you get the photo shoot, and then you're on a peak again.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
The whole world knows about Robbie.
All of a sudden I'm like getting calls from countries, Belgium and Germany and Latin America countries, Argentina, and they wanted me to fly to these trips. And I'm thinking like, I'm feeling like a superstar at this point.
Yes.
So all of a sudden I'm making $750 an hour. I mean, $750 plus expenses, plus, hotel accommodation, plus airfare flight, business class. And I'm thinking, wow, this is a change in my life.
And back then, $750 was
that's
good money.
In that time period, that's a lot of money.
Yes.
And I got booked.
Why is there so much hype behind Destiny? Did he create it himself? Or does he just know the right people? You are more based and a better debater than him and these other click-bear fucktards. You also been in the game longer. Is it because you're vegan?
Have I don't know if I've been streaming longer than Destiny or like, doing YouTube and shit. I don't know. I don't know why Destiny necessarily gets so much more viewership than me. Like, he does kind of occupy a different space where he's done a lot of political content for a while and gaming content, whereas I haven't really done that so much. Like, I've gotten more political recently. But, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not, I don't know what the secret is exactly to, like, viral success. One thing that Destiny does do a lot better than me is doing collaborations with other creators, and he deliberately tries to not debate as well as he could so that he gets called back to do more interviews and shit, so... Yeah, that's obviously not something I'd do. Thanks for the donation, though, asshole realist.
For like pretty much the whole year, 750. And then as I got more and more cover shots, more and more notoriety in the magazine, I went from 750, 800 to 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. I don't know about all that, man.
You are a living legend, man. I'm a big fan of yours.
I don't know about all that, man.
No, definitely, man. Definitely. I was very excited about this interview. As a matter of fact,
Riley Donatillers, what do you think about the Nutrivore? He's pretty based. Knows a lot about nutrition. Never seen his content. His name is Nick, right? Yes. Do you recommend him? Yeah, if you want to learn more about nutrition, you should watch Nick. I also heard his definition of veganism is just a slightly more complicated definition of your definition, I think. Thanks so much. Yeah. I think he just, I think he uses, like, veganism is an extension of human rights to sentient beings. Not animals specifically, because if we saw alien life on another planet that wasn't technically an animal, but like a plant or a fungus or something that was highly sentient and intelligent, it would disqualify them from the definition, but, whatever. Thanks for the donation, though, Riley.
I wanted to do it for a long time, but I heard that you don't do interviews. You know, you kind of like you stay away from the media. So when you agreed to do it, I was very excited.
Really, Val, the reason I have stayed away from the media because back in the day, that's what you did. If you opened your mouth and said something, you'd be like reprimanded. And I'm too old for that. I didn't really want to be bothering with it even then. And to find myself in that situation, it wasn't nice for me. I didn't handle it very well because of the fact that I'm from the South. And you had a whole different mentality than people in other areas. That's just how it was. I grew up in the swamps. I grew up with Indians, the Seminole Indians in Florida, see. So that's how I grew up. I grew up on a farm. I grew up already doing everything a bodybuilder was doing, and I wasn't even into bodybuilding that well. I mean, I was using cement blocks and rope, inner tube tires and chins and things like that. So I just kind of really been onto myself. I've never really made friends in bodybuilding. The only person I really associate myself with really is Chris Vermeer. Yeah.
And how did you become a pro actually? Because you won the IBB Pro League, right? How did you get into that, and what did it take for you to get a pro card back then?
See, you didn't have to get a pro card then. In those days, there was no such thing. So when I came into bodybuilding, I came through the AAU. The AAU was like the Amateur Bodybuilding Federation, and I started going to those shows, and then Val, I was really good at it. That's the only thing I can say. At that point, at that young age, I had a great physique. I had already had 20-inch arms, small waist. As I say, genetic base from my parents, and I just took that genetic base and found the right tools to use on that genetic base and created my physique.
That's amazing. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Looking at the old pictures, vintage black and white pictures from the 70s, 80s, your physique was phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like those pictures from Venice Beach, you know what I mean? Like it was so many different pictures of you, and it was just like phenomenal. The physique was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, Barry, I just had this mindset that you can create your body with your mind. I didn't think of it later on that there were other substances involved. When I won so many competitions. It was crazy back in those days. But in those competitions, they weren't placing me 1, 2, or 3. They would place me 5th. And in those days, they had body parts awards. I would win all the body parts awards. So to me, I said, okay. I didn't get upset about it. I didn't think it was racism, even though that it was that. I just didn't allow myself to, what would you say, be mine. Couldn't mess with my mind. I couldn't. There's no way you can break that wheel, that mind thing that I was just toughened, by the lifestyle.
It's so weird that even back in like the 60s and 70s with all the insane racism, despite all of that, black people have excelled so phenomenally in sports that they still like couldn't, stop black people from being at the top of all these sports. I know hockey. I actually met the guy. There's one of the first black hockey players. I met him when he was in his 90s. He said he tried to play professionally and they just wouldn't let him because he was black. Even though he was better than all the fucking white players. But yeah, it's funny. Like all these black dudes were just so big, so strong, so fucking jacked, so good looking. All these sports, they couldn't fucking hold them back, really.
Did you watch that moist critical versus sneaky debate? It actually melted my brain and I'm negative IQ now. Both of them are retarded and it was funny to watch them go at it. I also didn't realize how bad moist critical is at debating.
Oh yeah, they were both phenomenally retarded, just out of this world stupid. Moist Critical might in some ways be even dumber than Sneeko. He lost that debate, clearly. But, Sneeko has like some ability to think critically, clearly, whereas Moist Critical literally cannot. He has no ability whatsoever to think critically. He just has opinions. And it also seems that he decides what opinions he shares publicly just based on what he perceives as what would give him the most amount of popularity. Like when he said it's fine to like cut 9-year-old boys' penises off and give them bottom surgery. He said, yeah, well, it's fine to, you know, perform bottom surgery on a 9-year-old. Because he thought, well, that's like, you know, the proper left-wing popular opinion, even though it's not. He just thought that because he's a fucking idiot. But yeah, he's just a complete jackass. And, you know, after that debate, it makes it even more obvious why he refused to debate me. It's because he knows he's stupid, and he knows if I debated him, he'd look like an absolute fucking hypocritical moron. And he only agreed to debate Sneeko because he thought it'd be like an easy W, but he got a rude awakening as to just how stupid he really is. Thanks for the donation, Yi.
Hey VG, I was gonna ask how profitable is affiliate marketing? I'm just getting into it.
Pretty much not at all. There are very rare circumstances where I've seen some people be able to make like maybe $2,000 a month just spamming affiliate links everywhere and creating like some very cheap ad space on like porn sites and stuff. But if you're gonna do like YouTube and shit like that, you're gonna make peanuts doing, you know, affiliates. You might make like maybe an extra $200 a month if you're lucky. So you're not gonna make any real money doing affiliate marketing, like getting a link and then getting 10%. But thanks for the donation. Forgot my namification.
How I grew up.
Or not, Rokion. That's... Yeah, Rokion asked that question. Forgot my namification, donated $2. I'm watching a bodybuilder wearing sunglasses, watching a video with a bodybuilder wearing sunglasses. I took that test you took, and I came out progressive left, which makes no sense. Can you maybe stream Breachers VR? I think it would be a funny stream. I think I was considering getting that game. Yeah, Pavlov is still pretty much dead, right? I'll consider getting this. Looks like it could be fun. Thanks for the donation. Forgot my namification.
Well, so I wouldn't allow you into this. And see, a lot of people, I think back in those days, still to this day, allow that to be fragmented. I won't let it happen. When I came out here in 75, after winning all this shit, I got a letter from Joe Weeder. I was so proud. I was like, wow, come out and train with the Weeder boy. Man, I was all excited. I was thinking like, wow, finally I get my opportunity. And then when I came out here in 75, and showed the guys the letter, Joe Weeder want me to train with, you know, come out here and train with you guys. And they started laughing. I thought, oh, okay. Something in the milk ain't clean. So I got out here. And, you know, I had a certain amount of money, my plane ticket back home. I set up an appointment. I went out to see Joe Weeder. And my first indoctrination to bodybuilders, I don't give blacks contracts. Joe Weeder, point blank. I don't give blacks contracts. And I was like, from that point on, I was devastated because in my culture there, you can't go back home and cry the white man. You can't do that. You can't go back because they think, in my country, they call he's a weak nigga. That's exactly how I grew up. You couldn't go back to my hometown, Tallahassee, and tell everybody, oh, they wouldn't let me in there, man. You know, I failed. You couldn't do that. So I stayed out here. I stayed out here in Venice, and I slept on top of Gold's Gym for weeks, okay? Because I couldn't go. I knew that if I went back home, I would be whitewashed in my culture. You can't do that. So I took the grind. I slept on top of Gold's Gym for weeks, months, and then I got a guy named Michael Montgomery allowed me to start staying in his place. That gave me the base.
How do you feel about smartphones? Do you own one? What is your stance on child labor? Not throwing shade, legitimately curious. Please don't get angry.
Yes, I own a smartphone. That's literally like the only kind of phone that's made anymore. You can get smartphones for like $20. Stance on child labor. It's not good. So, children shouldn't be working. There's a few reasons for that. One, they should be focusing on school so that they can actually get educated and make a career later. If they start working, that would get in the way of them actually being able to get a good education. Secondly, children are very easily exploited and they don't have good ability to advocate for themselves. So if an adult, say, tries to not pay them enough, or, you know, tries to convince them to do something dangerous or something that they shouldn't do or something that's not involved in their work contract, so on and so forth, children don't really have an ability to advocate for themselves, so they'd very easily end up getting exploited and be underpaid, overworked, do something dangerous, crap like that. Thanks for the donation, Dumb Inquisitor.
Then I started getting exhibitions and seminars. You know, I was charging $500 at that time. I was getting $500 a pop, so I was able to kind of save my money and then move in an apartment because I still live in Venice. Right across the street over here, I got an apartment. And then I started putting little stuff in there through the money I was making as a, you know, doing all the exhibitions and seminars. But I never got a contract with Weeder. He never gave me a contract.
So Robbie, I want to ask you. So why did Joe invite you to go to Venice? Just to meet with him?
Because I had a great physique.
You just wanted to see
I was taking pictures of my physique. I was sending pictures of my body. And when I guess after seeing that, he sent me this letter saying, listen, come out to California. You know, I want you to train with the Weeder boys. And that's what I did. I took it as a word of honor, just honor. I didn't go in there thinking that the guy was going to say, hey, listen, I don't get niggas contract. It was far the same for my mom.
So a lot of people that are going to watch this are going to ask, but Joe Weeder...
Who donated $2? Let me see. Colorado law enforcement agency settled for $8.5 million with a woman who was handcuffed in the back of a patrol car when it was hit by a train. That is a pretty goddamn good and well-deserved payout. If I remember correctly, I think she was suing for something around like 30 million, so getting 8.5 million out of the deal, not bad. I mean, like, in all likelihood, too, her legal fees probably weren't all that much, because it's just such a slam dunk case, and this wasn't even being litigated for very long. So she probably gets to keep most of that money. I wouldn't be surprised if her lawyers maybe get 500,000, but she, like, gets to pocket 8 million. But, yeah, that was one of the most fucked, retarded things I've ever seen in my fucking life. Leave it to the police to park their car on the fucking railroad tracks with somebody inside. Thanks for the donation, Pooh. Elias donated $2. My man is living the dream. Oh my god.
Take me home to the place where I belong.
Those are some good donkeys. Oh my god. Donkeys are really sweet, friendly, loving animals. Every donkey I've met has been really nice and cuddly and friendly, and they all want to like run up and meet you. Donkeys are really nice. Those are good donkeys. Thanks for the donation, Elias.
I guess maybe not at that time, but later on he did sign many black athletes, right? Is that he wasn't doing it at the time?
He did it afterward.
So not at that time, but afterwards. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he did it. I think Ronnie Coleman got a $1 million contract. I think the first one was like $600,000 contract.
Wait, what about Sergio Oliva? Was Sergio Oliva, was he with Joe Weider?
I'm not sure. I think he might have been when they first started, when he won the first 2 or 3 of Mr. Olympias. That could have been the case. But I never got one. I mean, the people around me got contracts, like, what was his name? I can't call it. I think maybe Sean Radham, a few of the other guys that were got, but majority of the guys that were.
That's later. That's all 80s. Yeah, I'm not sure, like, knowing what Joe Weider did with Sergio Oliva, he probably never got a contract. Yeah, he almost certainly didn't. But, yeah, in the 80s, a bunch of black dudes got contracts, but, yeah, before that, no.
Barry DeMare, what is his name? Paul Dillette. The guys like that, I think by that time he was supporting and giving the guys contract because they're probably a lot more demanding. The Presidents now at that point, the guys were bigger. So that too probably gave him a lot of leverage.
But you had a great competitive career, right? I mean, you never won you won the Masters Mr. Olympia, right? But you never won
that was my baby. I kept saying to myself, you got to win one Sandow. You have to come out of this with one Sandow. So I lived in Europe for 12 years because I got suspended for 2 lifetimes. I didn't.
Suspended from IABB?
Yeah, I got suspended for 2 lifetimes. Because
why did you get suspended?
The reason why that was because of the fact that I was verbal. You know, I grew up in the South, and it's something not right, you say what's on your mind. And so I said what's on my mind I think Rick Wayne, I did a report with Rick Wayne, and I just told him, I said, hey, they want me to get big. I said, I'm not going to take the excess.
Congrats on the huge bench PR, by the way. Well, thank you. Yeah, that was fucking hard, man. My pectoral tendons still aren't totally recovered from all that training. I did a bench session yesterday, and the most I could do was 240 for sets of 10. I couldn't go like beyond that just because of the tendons aren't totally healed yet. But hopefully, just slowly working up. I'm just working with very light weights right now for my chest, and hopefully the tendons just able to heal and not get too stressed. Elias donated $2. Did Rafaela reply to your debate offer regarding gender identities? She doesn't want to have a public debate, but she'll debate in private. What the fuck was that? What is this? The fuck? That was weird. Thanks for the donation, Elias.
Amount of substances that you need to get like that. I just want to stay the way I am. And from that point on, Joe Weider started using my body with his different things in his magazines. And I thought about it. I called him on it. I said, hey, you can't do this. And he said, I can do whatever I want. I mean, who's going to believe you? You're black. But see, this is how they could talk to you in private. You can't say too much. You can't go out there and say, hey, this person said that. So I just kept to myself with the whole thing in my own mindset. But I love bodybuilding, but the people that run it,
I'm sure back then, if you were to say anything about that, people would be like, well, yeah, I mean, racism's fine.
I don't have too much respect for them. Joe Weider, he helped a lot of people after I came through there, but my whole concept of Joe Wheatley is just not a good person. Even though may his soul rest in peace, I don't have the respect I would like to have for him.
So it seems like you've experienced a lot of racism, right?
Racism.
In the bodybuilding specifically.
You know, when I competed, my paychecks were always shortened. I didn't quite understand it at first. That tour that myself and Richard Sparrow went on. Richard Sparrow got his 10,000 every time because we were on this on the Zaya BB tour, and being on that tour, you get paid ever so often. My paycheck was $6,000 for second place. His paycheck was $10,000 for second place. He got his 10,000 every time. Mine came up short several times. I couldn't say nothing to the person that's running, who was Wayne to me at this point. I couldn't say too much to him. I just had to eat it. So that's what I'm saying. Really quiet because I stayed to myself. I didn't want to bring all these things up, but I encountered a lot of racism in that business, and I'm not talking anyone down. I don't have no bad feelings. I don't think that.
Do you still feel like you beat depression? Do you not feel anger anymore when you see carnists eating? Any tips for that? I agree with nihilism, but I still get angry because I personally think it is bad. What is your preferred definition of gender?
Yes, I still haven't had depression since the mushroom trip. It's fine to get angry, dude. I got angry at fucking Tekken last night and shit. But I mean, when anger becomes suffering, that's a different story. Like, again, it's all a mindset. Anger exists in your mind. It's not something that's put in your mind from something that you see. So you can look at any situation and feel about it any way. You can look at meat eaters and get angry, or you can look at meat eaters and just feel sorry for the animals. You can feel sorry for the people that are going to end up getting heart disease and cancer, or, pity the animals and the people that are all in this like weird retarded system where people are being lied to, advertise that meat is healthy or good for you or necessary, and you can take it any way you want. But again, like, if you have this like intense feeling of anger kind of constantly, and you're, it's negatively impacting your life and you're like suffering from it, it's all in your mind. There's nothing anyone can do to you that will make you angry. Anger exists within your mind. Siddhartha, the Buddha, he had a really good analogy for this. He said anger is a gift. If somebody presents you with a gift and you refuse to accept it, you don't have that gift. You can just say no. Somebody can scream, yell at you, do annoying things, and try to press your buttons, but if you don't accept the gift, you're just not going to feel that anger. That's all it comes down to. Thanks for the donation, though, Lackey.
What is it? What do they call it? I'm not one of those people that is out there verbalizing and trying to make other people feel bad or put other people down. I mean, what's going on the way Black Lives Matter thing? That to me, what kind of spurred me on to come out and say, talk about these things. You can't. I don't. What the Black Lives thing, I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening now that was still happening back then when I was alive, when I was younger. It's the same thing going on, Val. It hasn't changed.
I was going to ask you, do you think, because you were obviously.
Cute gains and toilers enjoy, sir. Let me see. Oh, is the donkey just trying to make friends? Oh, he's just trying to make friends. Oh, he just wants to be friends. Oh, maybe he doesn't want to be friends, biting a zebra. Well, those are pretty animals. Oh. Little pig has a horse friend.
Are you an unlikely pair?
It's a nice pig. Pig and the horsey are friends. My goodness. It's a nice fuzzy pig. Oh, it's a nice alpaca. That is a nice alpaca. Ooh, it's a nice llama.
What are you doing?
Oh my goodness.
I have no food. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to the donkey? Look, he's doing the back kick. Don't chase the donkey around, you mean... Whoa, whoa. What are you doing?
I really like llamas. They're really pretty.
Oh, yeah?
Oh. Donkeys making friends. That's nice. Thanks for the donation, Cute Gains.
Obviously, growing up in America, right, in the 50s and 60s, you witnessed a lot of the stuff. So I was going to ask you. Obviously, there's a lot of things happening right now that brought up a lot of these issues back on the surface.
Yeah, that's what it did.
Do you feel like it's gotten better progressively, or do you think things kind of remain the same, racism wise?
What happened is they started to come up with all these ideas and values and making changes, and then if you notice, it all goes quiet. And see, that's why it's happening now. These kids now are young, and they say, "Hey, the hell with that. I don't want to deal with this anymore." I mean, I can understand they feeling stressed out and hurt and angry, but I don't think you go out there and burn buildings down. That's not what you're trying to fight for. You're trying to fight for equality here, better jobs, more recognition. I mean, every life matter. That's how I see it. But come on now, the subject now, Black Lives Matter. I mean, it should to some degree. I've been pulled over by police officers. They're nasty. No disrespect. They aren't all bad people. It's like the guys out there marching and protesting. They are not all bad people, but it's the same with the police. But I mean, if you're in a group like that, I mean, if I was a police officer and I saw somebody that misdoing the thing that's going to get me 20 years in prison, I would say, "Hey, dude, what's your problem? You're going to get me in jail too. I'm going to lose my benefits too." But see, they don't understand that, Val. They just sit back there and look at us and let it happen.
Riley Donatillers, VG, can I ask how we determine sentience? Well, we can only infer it. Like, technically, you can't know any other mind outside of your own, but you can make inferences. So, if there is a being that is the same species as you, they're probably sentient because you have the same genes and brain and genetic makeup. We all share an evolutionary tree, so if there's a species that is of the kingdom Animalia, that likely means they're also sentient because, again, we share an evolutionary lineage. So if they have a brain, nervous system, then they're also probably sentient. If they don't have a brain and nervous system, then they, in all likelihood, are not sentient. I am asking this because of fucking Plant Lives Matter people. For example, if you say the brain is the determining factor for sentience, then what about a jellyfish? Pretty sure jellyfish are not sentient. Plant Lives activists confuse me with this, thanks. Yeah, not every animal is going to be sentient. You could argue some insects are likely not sentient. Bivalves, in all likelihood, are not sentient because they don't have a brain or nervous system. They just have nerve ganglia. You could also make the case for jellyfish, of course. I think there's a species of shrimp that are probably not sentient. Lobsters and other crustaceans, they might not be sentient. They don't have a brain, but they do have a very complex collection of nerve ganglia that seem to be able to communicate with each other, and they exhibit some very obvious signs of sentience. So they can investigate things. They have eyes. They seem to be able to see things. They do seem to have some sort of reasoning capability. They do seem to react to noxious stimuli. So despite not having a brain and a very rudimentary nervous system, they do seem to be sentient. But sentience is something that you can determine by making a series of inferences. There's no inference you can make that would suggest that plants are sentient. Thanks for the donation, Riley.
Because they can't move either. If they do, just like the lady tried to stop a guy. I'm reading the information. I read everything there. And what happened with her, she gets fired. That don't make sense to me. Come on now. If she had to let him go through, she'd go to jail too. Why should she go to jail? I don't understand the mentality of the guys. I really don't. I don't understand it. There's no way would I let that sucker get him and kill the damn man. And I'm sitting there looking, I'm saying, hey, dude, check it out, man. Give it a break. If you don't like me, hey, it's my life. I got a family too. So those guys are going to be in jail for a long time for what? For not saying, hey, dude, check it out. Stop that crazy.
Thanks for the membership, Mangoes.
Roll him over, do something, pump his heart. Come on, it don't make sense to me. See, I see myself in that position too. It flashed me back to when I was a bodybuilder. When Joe Weider told me he wouldn't give me a contract, I became pissed. But I said, you can't do nothing crazy here. Regroup yourself. Get inside of yourself. Calm yourself. Because that's what I did. I calmed myself. And I still went back and bodybuild. As you say, I had a great career. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. There were a lot of great times. I enjoyed bodybuilding. I still enjoy it to this day, Val, just like a kid. I still go to the gym 4 o'clock in the morning, bumming and blitzing with Michael. Because I love the sport, man. I'm not going to sit there and put the sport down. It's a great art form. I mean, I really would like to work with all the guys that are serious about it and want to get their bodies in shape. I think it's an easy thing, but you just need to learn all the values and the knowledge and put it into work. And what I'm seeing on YouTube and Instagram, I'm seeing a lot of people out there describing and demonstrating exercise. But in my mind, no disrespect to them, to me, that's not bodybuilding. Throwing weights around, dropping weights, throwing weights on the floor, that's not impressive to me. Going in there, training, getting everything in the right order, educating the kids out there because they need to be educated. Everybody come to me about drugs, and they want me to do a drug. I said, I'm not going to do no drug plan. Well, I give you this much, I don't want your money. But this happens to me often throughout, my daily working on the internet. And it's not what bodybuilding is about. It's not about drugs. It's about going in there and training yourself, eating properly, getting your rest, learning the basic exercises, learning what body position is, learning what the muscle thing really means. And once they start doing it, I think you'll see a lot of bodybuilders coming out of their work. They need to do that. Seriously.
It's interesting. It's interesting because a lot of people they love Joe Weider, right? Because he kind of built the industry, right? So I guess I've heard some things about him before that were kind of questionable, But you're the first one on the record that's actually saying that he wasn't a good person. Obviously, it's an opinion. People have opinions, of course. So
he was a good person who he want to be a good person too.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would. But see, as I say, I was verbal. I didn't allow that kind of mistreatment. I've already grown through that in the South. So why should I want to come out here to another whole nother level and endure that same kind of mistreatment? Come on now.
Do you think? Do you think other bodybuilders they were okay with if they were mistreated by him or whoever else, they kind of took
You know,
it.
I think this Sean Ray was verbal.
Riley Donatillers, couldn't you make the argument you should only respect creatures of which have reached at one point that are individuals and or feel pain in the same sense they go ouch, as it doesn't matter what we do to them because they aren't an individual? That made no sense. What you said was complete gibberish. So pain, the ability to feel pain, is an absolute indication of sentience, because if you can feel pain, that means you're having a subjective experience. But just because you can't feel pain, that doesn't mean you're not able to have other subjective experiences. You could have a being that cannot feel any physical pain but can suffer mentally and experience like emotional pain. You could have a being that can experience nothing but like pleasurable experiences. So I don't know what the hell you're trying to say, though. That made no sense. Thanks for that donation, Riley.
See, that's why Sean walked on Mr. Olympia. Sean would tell you point blank, mouth, hey, come on now. I don't want to hear that. He's still that way today. When we all competed in the Arnold Classic, the year that he was disqualified, we all were on drugs. I was on the same thing he got busted for. It didn't make sense to me. So I know that it all boils down to that point where, he can manipulate that thing however he wanted. He's Joe Weider. As he said to me, I'm Joe Weider. Who's going to believe you? That's just how it was. You not putting him down, not making him a bad person, but I don't have respect for Joe Weider. I lost it. I lost it in the midst of the chaos and the bad feelings and me being suspended for 2 lifetimes. My wife at that point worked at Weider's. She was, I won't say mulatto, she was mixed black and white. She worked out there for 2 years. The boss, Alan Dolphin, hounded that lady every day. Why are you with that nigga? Every single day. Why are you with that nigga? She went over. I hate to say that, Val, but that's what happened. It's a true history. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you about that. I wouldn't come online and say those things if it wasn't true. She's right. She ended up, Val, you might not believe, she ended up a psych ward. It broke her down. It broke her down. She's still living LAD. I still contact her, talk with her, but there's nobody there. Young, beautiful woman. Okay? But that's how racism is. They went after her to hurt me. That's how we both figured it out over the years. They couldn't break me, Val. That's what the problem was. They wanted to break me here. I go out and lose it. Not happening. I'm still here. That's how I see it.
I hear you. I guess a lot of people that they're gonna watch this interview, they might. I'm not saying what you're saying. You have your opinion, so we have to respect it, obviously. I'm saying a lot of people, our audience are going to watch it. They're going to say,
VG, why are you up so late? I made a mistake and napped too long. What time is it there?
It is 5:16 in the morning. The reason I'm up so late is because I've had a lot of trouble sleeping the last 4 days. And I am up at night. That's basically the story. Thanks for the donation, though, doo-doo.
Hey, well, there were many African-American Mr. Olympias, right, after that. So they're going to say, well, he couldn't be that racist. You know what I'm saying? People are going to say that, like, as a counterpoint to what you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they weren't there. They don't understand it. I tell you what I did, Val. I took and posted a piece directly from the newspaper here in Los Angeles, and the article was talking about white privilege, right? But I posted it on my page because I wanted to see how people react. I got like over 500 messages. A lot of them telling me to go back to go find another country to go to. I served this country. I served in the Army. I had 48 jumps. I don't have to go anywhere. And that's what I told a lot of them. I said, there is a white privilege. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think in that white privilege, a lot of people abuse it and misuse it. I don't care. I'm one of those people. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care what you think. I lived through that crisis. It's in my book. And Robbie Robinson, the Black Prince, is in my book. And see, this what they tried to do was shut the book down too. This book won a Reader's Digest award. See, people didn't like that because I was still evolving and getting better. I was still making myself overcome all these things that had happened to me in the past. I don't have no bad feeling. May his soul rest in peace, but I don't have respect for Joe Peter that much. It's just like what's going on in America. It hasn't changed. And the people don't want it to change there. If they did, they would get out. I'm seeing now for the first time in my life so many whites out there marching. Now I'm impressed. But just to see blacks out there marching, ain't nothing too much is going to happen. If there are changes that come about, hey, hallelujah. People don't really want that to happen. They don't really want it. If they did, they would work together as a team. What about dialogue? What about communication? Why not go in there and try to make a stand and say, hey, listen, get a group from people and talk about this situation. Hopefully you can draw closer to each other. I'm finding right now more white people on the streets in Los Angeles speaking to me than ever spoke to me in my life, and I don't even know them. So I'm thinking, seriously, I think that I was like, wow, I'm impressed. They're starting to change. That's how I see it. I mean, you have to be, man, you can't stay the same. To me, that's a person that's not growing. You got to change to get better. The same as with bodybuilding. You have to change. If you don't make any change, how can you expect the body to become better? It's not possible. You have to make changes. You have to work toward a better you than the old you. This is why I see things. That's what I see in today. I see the kids out there fighting, black and white, Spanish, all kind of races. And I'm impressed because when I was coming through the wreck, you had to fight that battle by yourself. And then you're going to get pushed out into the ocean. Nobody's going to want you or have you around them, none whatsoever. About it sometimes I think about, boy, if I had really listened to the foundation people, I probably would have been gone by now because of the sickle cell. When the first shot I took of a drug, as I say, I walked from Gold's Gym right down the street here, back to my apartment right on the corner in Venice.
That's actually really, he might have a sickle cell trait. I actually know a guy who has full-blown sickle cell. He's homozygous for sickle cell. So his red blood cells are constantly sickle-shaped. That dude has to be extremely careful when he's working out. He's actually been hospitalized for it a few times.
VG, subjective experience is a much better description than individuals. I start to get confused with my words when talking about plants and what creatures we should morally value. VG, would you ever do debate with Ed Winters? That would be epic.
I think I've offered to have a talk with Ed or debate him on certain things. I never got a response back. I don't know exactly what I'd debate him on, but I've never got a response back from Ed. Thanks for the donation, though, Riley. Appreciate it. Yeah, because if he had full sickle cell, that would be pretty fucking incredible that he was able to do pro bodybuilding, train so often, and take steroids while having full-on sickle cell. Because steroids make you produce more red blood cells, so if he has an elevated red blood cell count that are sickle cell shaped, like, that'd kill him. So it has to be like trait.
And by the time I got in my door, I collapsed.
That was from what? That was from what exactly? From what drug?
I was training at Gold's Gym. It's right down the street from my house here. I'm sitting right in the middle of Venice. That's where I live. And I walked from Gold's Gym after getting that shot, and I could feel my body pumping up like a helium bag. By the time I got to my front door, to my apartment here in Venice, I collapsed in the door. But what happened was that I hadn't gotten blood work done yet, see? And in that process, that blood work increased the size of my red blood corpuscles. And with me having a sickle cell, when sickle cells go through the bloodstream, if they're sickle shaped, right, like a half moon. So what they do, they hang on to each other, and they block the blood flow that get to the extremity, like the heart, the liver, the kidneys, and things like that. And so I collapsed, and I'm shaking. As black as I am, I turned gray. And my lady friend at this point was saying, "What's wrong? What did you do?" I said, "I couldn't even talk." She drug me to the bathtub, put me in the bathtub, put cold water on me. That's why I'm here today. It shocked my body.
What did you take? What was it a shot off? What kind?
It was Primobolan Depot.
Which is a start, right?
Was a light anabolic back in those days. That was the first anabolic I took in my whole life. And I took that drug, and by the time I got back to my house here.
Yeah, maybe he has full-blown sickle cell. That's like extremely surprising. He'd be able to do bodybuilding and take steroids while having full-blown sickle cell.
My apartment here invented, I was pretty much done. Could have had a heart attack, could have had an aneurysm of the brain. This is what the doctors were saying to me. They said, "You have sickle cell." And I said, "What is that?" And then I started finding and reading information about it, and I realized, hey, you're not in a good place. You're not healthy here. And so I started doing my own research, reading all the books about it. I changed my way of eating. That's to say, I started doing lighter weights. What did I do? I started and had to rebuild myself. See, from that time with the steroid, I had to rebuild my body because of everything collapsed because of the adverse reaction to the steroid.
So how were you able to take those substances as you were competing? Were you have to like change up the other substances?
I had to change everything, bro. I couldn't take it the way they wanted to take it. I had to take it like for 8 weeks only. And then I had to take it in dosages that were small dosages. I couldn't take 200 milligrams of Deca. I would have gone into a collapse. I couldn't take it. I had to take 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. That's how I had to do it every week. Other way around, I wouldn't be here interviewing me.
Did that put you in a disadvantage in the competition? Did taking like less dosages put you in a disadvantage?
I think it saved my life, really.
That's insane. I literally did not know that was even humanly possible to do competitive bodybuilding while having homozygous sickle cell anemia. That's crazy. Like, again, a friend of mine's brother has homozygous sickle cell, and he's skinny as shit and everything, and he wanted to start working out and training and stuff, but he's been hospitalized several times because when he's working out, he'll get like some fucking sickle cell attack, and then he'll be in the hospital for like a fucking week.
Because the body was able to...
Joe Rogan's latest retardation. Skip to 4920.
You didn't give me a link. If you give me a link, I can take a look. Thanks for the donation, Cocksmoker.
To maintain a certain normality. That's what I'm going to say, more normal. Because during those doses, you're only doing that like once a week. I was doing 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, 100, 100, 100, 100 for 8 weeks. That's how I did drugs. I didn't do them like every week or every 3 days like the guys are doing today. I mean, 1,000 milligrams of testosterone, I'd be dead. I couldn't take it. My body wouldn't be able to handle it.
That's interesting. Didn't know that about Robbie.
I got canceled. It canceled and I didn't want to end it like that. Only PS4. I don't think they have story in this game.
Why in the hell is he playing Fallout 76? Is this like on his latest podcast? Oh, there we go.
That stuff instead of butter and margarine.
Oh, here we go. 3 weeks ago. 49.20.
I figured that's what it is, all boiled down to money, but there's other ways to make money off us.
Yeah, but they started this shit in the 1960s, man. They bribed sugar scientists. It was the 60s, right? Wasn't it when they did that?
They never bribed sugar scientists. There's no such thing as a sugar scientist.
50s, they bribed sugar scientists. They bribed scientists rather to say that sugar is good for you and saturated fats are.
They never bribed scientists to say sugar's good for you. There has never been a fucking nutrition scientist that has ever said sugar is good for you.
Bad for you. They tried to say that all these people having heart attacks and all the cardiovascular issues that people have, that this is actually because of saturated fat.
Yes, that's because that's what the evidence showed, and to this day, that is what the evidence has showed.
Which is just not true.
You're right, 60s and 70s.
1960s, the sugar industry paid scientists to downplay the link between sugar and heart disease instead promote saturated fat as the culprit. Sugar research.
Yeah, it was the culprit. So this is normal, by the way. You'll find that a lot of nutrition research is funded by large food corporations. The reason for that is they have an interest in knowing what their food does to people. So say if you have like, I don't know, a product on the market that's killing people, you'd probably want to know about that because you'd not want to get sued. You wouldn't want a government regulating your product or something like that to like tax you or something. So a lot of food research is funded by these, food industries, like these corporations. And they pay scientists to do some research to see what their food does. And yeah, the sugar industry did help fund some research. I shouldn't say the sugar industry. It's probably corporations like Kellogg's and stuff like that, or Pepsi. And they wanted to see if there was a link between sugar and heart disease or other, macronutrients and heart disease. And what they found was there wasn't a clear association between processed sugar consumption with isochloric exchange and heart disease, but they did find that link with saturated fat.
Research Foundation, now known as the Sugar Association, funded the research that reviewed the scientific literature and set the review's objective. Sugar Research Foundation also provided materials for review and examined drafts before publication. Yeah, it was all bullshit. And fat is good for you.
No, saturated fat is bad for you. It is inexorably linked with heart disease.
Is healthy for you, especially saturated fat. What?
No, not especially saturated fat. Poly and monounsaturated fats are good for you. Saturated fat, bad. Saturated fat is linked with heart disease. It also seems to promote diabetes and certain forms of cancer.
What are you saying? Yeah, fat from meat is really good for you.
Makes sense.
Yeah, of course it makes sense. It's what
It does not make sense.
human beings have been eating forever.
Doesn't matter if we've been eating it forever. If you look at the science and the research, it's bad for you. By the way, you can induce heart disease in cats by feeding them a diet high in saturated fat. Most animals do not eat a diet high in saturated fat. Like lions and tigers and shit out in the wild, they're hunting and killing wild game. So zebras, gazelle, deer, animals like that, they have a very low body fat content. So when these carnivorous animals are munching down on a corpse, they're not actually getting as much saturated fat as you'd think they'd be eating. You can induce heart disease in these animals if you feed them high amounts of saturated fat. It affects them adversely, just like how it adversely affects human beings. Like this guy is a fucking idiot.
It's what most indigenous tribes, that's what they try to get. They try to get fat. They try to get meat.
Yeah, so indigenous tribes have issues with getting enough calories, and you would expect them to favor short-term survival over long-term survival. If you can't survive in the short term, then you can't survive in the long term. And if eating very fatty types of meat helps you get more calories and prevent starvation, that's a better situation than, dying of starvation. I don't know how short-term survival equates to long-term health.
Meat and fat. That's why people like Inuits, before American food and alcohol and cigarettes started making its way to like the Inuit tribes, they had very low instances of heart disease.
They did not have low instances of heart disease. So the first Arctic explorers that were studying these populations back in like the 1940s, 50s, 60s, they noted that they had about the same rate of heart disease as Americans at the time. And considering that the Inuit weren't smoking like cigarettes, they weren't like tobacco addicts, and these are very small nomadic populations, they probably had higher rates of heart disease compared to Americans. So, no.
And they eat nothing but fat. They're eating fat all the time. They're eating whale blood.
Yep, and that's why you also see you can look at the Horus study. They examined Eskimo Arctic mummies, and all of them have heart disease. They all have atherosclerotic lesions.
Blubber and all kinds of shit like that, and seal.
It seems like it's just more natural. That's what.
It's normal. It's food. It's real food. That's the stuff that like when people say that margarine is good for you, margarine is fucking terrible for you.
Margarine is better for you than butter. So people like idiots like Joe still seem to think this. They don't make margarines with hydrogenation anymore. Hydrogenation-based margarines are as bad, if not worse for you than butter. They don't do that anymore. They use emulsion-based margarines. So, no, they are better for you. They contain less saturated fat. They have more poly and monounsaturated fats, which help keep your cholesterol lower. Riley donated $2. Unfortunately, I've heard that bird food may contain, as in pellet mixes they make, maybe non-vegan. Do you know where to find nutritional pellets? Not just feeding your bird fruit, asking because vegan pet food companies only dog and cat food. I'm assuming it's vitamin D3. I don't know if they have other animal products in bird food, but I'm assuming it's the vitamin D3 they add, right? I don't know if you can find bird pellets that don't contain D3, but contain, like, vitamin D2. I have no idea. I wouldn't be, like, super concerned with something like that because they get D3 from sheep's wool. I don't know how much vitamin D3 you would need to consume to equate to a rights violation. I would imagine it would be quite a lot. But, yeah, I don't know if they make bird pellets with vitamin D2. Thanks for the donation, though, Riley.
I can't believe it's not butter. Bitch, I can believe it. Doesn't taste anything like butter. It doesn't taste, it's like got a buttery texture. It's fucking terrible. It's a big tub of seed oil. That shit's awful for you. There's also
seed oil is good for you.
So, like, there's a lot of people that try to link the consumption of seed oils and margarine and shit like that to Alzheimer's. That's when people started getting...
Yeah, there's no link between seed oils and Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's disease. And they started using...
There is, however, a link between saturated fat and Alzheimer's. A high intake of saturated fat is a major risk factor for Alzheimer's. Dietary fat intake and risk of Alzheimer's disease and dementia, meta-analysis of cohort studies. This meta-analysis provides significant evidence of positive association between higher saturated fat intake and Alzheimer's disease and dementia risk. So, no, you're retarded.
Using that stuff instead of butter and margarine. Or butter and fat.
I remember hearing that it was from deodorant, antiperspirant. That's not true.
That's got to be bad for you too.
That scared me because I don't want to be funky though. But then,
What a dumbass. All right. I'm just gonna go take a piss real quick. When I come back, we'll play some Tekken. Oh, oh my god. Prim Prim. Prim Prim. Come here, Prim Prim. Oh, there's Bimo. Oh my god, I've got two kitties here. Hey, Bimo. Here's Bimo. Oh my goodness, hello, Bimo. Who's your good kitty? It's a good kitty. Love you so much. Such a sweet little kitty. Hey, Prim Prim. Want to come up? Come here, Prim Prim. Come here, Prim Prim. No. I gotta show both kitties. Look at my two kitties. I got two really good kitties. Oh my god. You're so good. Ugh.